What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And, of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second, hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at My Cowboys Family, and, of course, hop in the Discord. The link for that's in the description box down below.
Guys, we're in the middle of a bye week. Week 7 of the NFL, but don't count for us. Hey, right now you see Micah resting. Mike McCarthy say, "Hey, everyone, you're out of here till Monday." We're not out of here till Monday. We're never gone. I guess yesterday we were taking a little hectic break day here, but hey, we've got a power pack show tonight to discuss a couple important things going down during this bye week. And we got a lot to discuss here. I can't wait to hear your guys' opinions in the chat. And baby, as we open this up and everybody hits that like and for the stream, subscribe to the channel, the notification bells. You know we're going live, baby. Let's shout out the people that make the world go around here on the MCF side of things.
Some familiar names and faces. A big mahalo to the man Mark Hovsepian.
1, 2, 3 weeks in a row.
That's right. Thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate you. And Stubby 1085 holding on with 10.
Yeah. You got
Cooper Rush points.
Cooper Rush style there. Snug X, you know why he's here.
You already know. 10
weeks of dominance as our Cash App king. Much love to Snug. And by the way, I got to throw this out there right now. He had a couple drops over the last 48 hours or so. He's in first place on the overall board. He's in first place on the Cash App board, going for that Micah Parsons 11 in a row. Maybe trying to go for Jason Renfro's all-time record of 20. 2.5 months of dominance. We'll see how that continues. Much love to Snug X, who's currently in first place on both boards. Trying to box out Mark Hovsepian as well, who's also on that overall board running there. And then you have the gifting champions. Much love to Mr. Skeptical fans, always staying skeptical, been holding that crown for basically the last week and a half. We had a tie between him and Justin D. They're fighting it out this week again. It's 2-1 gifted membership, count right now in the lead for a skeptical fan, trying to go back to back like our 90s Cowboys. Yeah, so much love to everybody in the house. Appreciate all the love and support. Of course, you got the super chats. Of course, that's one way of doing it. Jumping in the memberships, Navy, Blue, Silver, Star, and over everything levels.
Of course, gifting memberships as well.
Yeah, like we just said, and the thanks button. But there's also other ways to challenge Snug X outside of the Cash App. Well, the Cash App is one of the 4 ways of doing it outside of the 4 different ways we just spoke on. So if you want to support the channel, you want to make a run at the Cash App side?
Yeah, you have the Cash App money sign My Cowboys Family, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family. You have the regular PayPal link, and of course the Streamlabs link lets your comment show up on screen just like a super chat.
Yes. Now, we'll be shouting out all the star level members. Quick shout out the last 2 months winners here: Jason Renfro of the star level, and this last month, De Lunatic. We got something special for you guys in a little bit, in the future. On that side of things, much love to the star level membership.
Once you say bye to our bye week, I think we have some good things to talk about, right?
Yeah, exactly, guys. But again, we also shout out on the nightly, the star and over everything level members.
So a huge shout out to Skeptical Fan, Jason Renfro, Dwayne Broussard, Lincoln Kane, Mary Alvarez, Andy Potch, Marissa Sparkle, and The Lunatic.
Much love to everybody. Truly appreciate you guys. And as always, go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys.
Now, we got to get to the discussions here, but first we got to get to the shout-outs. Who's in the house right now ready to discuss some of that Navy, Blue, Silver, 2-star over everything? And listen, I know a lot of people are really high on this last win against Kellen Moore and the Chargers. I am not yet a believer in that way. I'm a believer we're above average, a good team, right? Top 12, top 10 team. Are we a Super Bowl team? No, not yet. So that's the way I'm going to sit with that.
I'll admit that, realistically speaking, with our win and the Eagles and Niners' subsequent losses, and some of the factors coming out of it, we are more in the mix. Now, does that mean we've somehow climbed the ladder? I don't know. What do you think, Skeptical Fan? Shout out to Rolando Rodriguez. Joining up in the membership. Thanks to Skeptical Fan.
Yes, big shout out to Skeptical Fan. Always staying skeptical. And currently, a 3-1 lead over Justin D. Try to take the gifting championship once again. Much love to Skeptical. And congrats to Rolando Rodriguez, the OG here on MCF. Appreciate you guys, and much love to Skeptical Fan. Let me update the board as you could, I guess, do some more shout outs.
Yeah, let me keep rolling with the shout outs. Of course, Skeptical Fan, who said, We aren't a playoff team yet.
Exactly. A
I
playoff team? Well, no, a playoff team, I don't think it's an earned playoff team yet, but I think that as the season goes on, we will earn it. I think we're not a true playoff run, Super Bowl run team yet. I think we have the potential, but we're not there yet, in my opinion, right now.
Yeah, if the playoffs were happening soon and records weren't as much of a factor there, just because obviously just by record alone, we'd probably be in like third or something at this moment, and I don't think that's necessarily right.
Actually, we'd be fourth right now. Fifth, okay. I'm sorry.
You sure?
Yep.
In the NFC?
We'd be fifth. We would be fourth, the four division winners, and then we're the best out of the rest.
You're right.
Yeah, the Lions and the, I think it would be the, I don't know if it's Saints. Which is the team? Tampa Bay, I think, would be the, we would play Tampa right now in the playoffs.
Which, a little ironic because, again, I think the Cowboys are in a similar position as, not last year, but maybe the year before. Right? When we lost to, was it the Rams? Didn't we lose to the Rams?
No, the Niners, 2 years in a row.
Oh, was it the Niners 2 years in a row? Sorry, wrong California team.
Yeah, so. it was the Niners we lost at home in the wild card round in Dallas. That one. But then last year we of course beat Tampa in Tampa.
Okay, well that
in
one
the wild card round.
That one I remember. I'm talking about the first round. And that would be, we took.
Yeah, that would be the same thing. Like that would be we'd be playing in Tampa. In this year, if it was right, if the playoffs were this moment, but we're far away from far from the playoffs.
I know, but if it somehow ends up working out like that, like once week 18 is all said and done, that's some freaking irony to keep a YouTube clean in these streets for now.
Trust me, I see the team like the Saints. Maybe they lost today. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the Saints or the Falcons having a better chance than the Bucks, or the Panthers being the team that wins that division.
Now, Raul, what's up? Bruce got the toxic juice, and again, we appreciate you. Yes, I agree. 100% skeptical. We definitely do need a lot of work. So
I'm with them.
Stephen White in the house. What's up? WTP Niners said ready for some football talk. Glad you're still hanging around. I trust me. You're hanging around because I know you're scouting the enemy. You're looking already at the playoffs like, ooh, I'm watching you. Dwayne Broussard, the top dog in the house. Dog. Much love. Of course, we got Snug X representing.
Snug.
Double R. Salute to all Cowboy Nation. And Freedom First. Hey, yay. You're first today, Freedom. I'm glad to see it. So, with that said, baby, I know there's more people trickling. I'll keep rolling with the shout-outs, but, since we took a bit of a break yesterday, I know there's a few more things to touch on, and even though it's the bye week, boy, there's always a little bit of Cowboy shenanigans,
I'm going to be asking you for some of your input
of course,
for this bye week discussion here, and you guys in the chat as well. So, first and foremost, bye week, whatever it may be. By the way, much love to the pre-stream drops there by Snug X, who's taken first place on the Cash App, once again going for 11 in a row, and currently in first place on the overall board in front of everybody, trying to get that sponsor of the week, the takeover, as we say here. Appreciate you, Snug. Now, as I continue with the news tonight, Travis Etienne from the Jacksonville Jaguars ran for 2 touchdowns, and Christian Kirk, 44-yard touchdown, to give the Jacksonville Jaguars a 31-24 victory over the Saints. We just talked about that division. Saints took an L tonight, although they came back. They were down 24-3 late in the third, and it made it a tie game, 24-24. Jacksonville scored late in the game, won the game. Trevor Lawrence, who returned from a sprained knee, forced them out the last couple of minutes of a victory against the Colts last week. Now they're 5-2. He had 59 yards rushing, by the way, leading the team. Trevor Lawrence with that knee. He completed 28-29 passes, 204 yards, and 1 touchdown, and gave them their 4th straight win. Now, I don't want to say much more about that game. That's just today's NFL game news, I guess you can say. But more importantly, I want to talk about Dallas Cowboy news. And now, related to the Cowboys, we also, I don't know if you guys have known this from yesterday, because Jerry Jones always has a little bit of butt heads situation with Robert Goodell. But Goodell is loved.
Roger.
What did I say?
Robert.
Oh, Roger Goodell. They bump heads. Jerry and him always have been doing this. But the owners love him. The owners love Roger Goodell because he makes them money hand over fist. So, NFL officially has extended Roger Goodell's 3-year contract for 3 years now. 3 more years of extended contract with the NFL. He's signed up through March 2027. Roger Goodell. Now, that's believed to be maybe the end of the road for him, guys. They believe this is he's 64 years old right now, Goodell. He's going to be retiring, maybe possibly at age 67 there. Remember, the last commissioner, or one of the OG commissioners that I remember growing up with, Pete Rozelle. The balls all have his name signed. The footballs have his name signed there. Pete Rozelle stepped down from the commissioner job when he was 63 years old. Paul Tagliabue, the last commissioner, he walked away when he was 65. So 67 sounds about right. It seems like 2 years every time the new commissioner takes over. They're retired. The next guy will retire 69. So again, this contract goes through 2027 and brings his career earnings for Roger Goodell to around $700 million to be the commissioner of the National Football League in his tenure. So there you go. Goodell making a big bucks.
Roger Goodell with like a fraternity suit like Jerry's other daughter?
Hey, go,
right?
baby, go for it, please. Please go for it. Go for it.
It might be.
Well, now we can't do it. We just spoke about it on camera.
Damn
it. Now the NFL.
You heard nothing.
You guys didn't hear that. Let's delete this, guys. The NFL front office and the NFL Shield, whatever, they are really trying to not only promote this flag football thing for the Olympics. They're encouraging active players to think about participating in flag football at the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. Remember, they're trying to sell this so it sticks. So they don't want to have like Joe Blow off the street doing this. They want superstars, the NFL. But you know what else? This is a quote from the NFL Executive Vice President Peter O'Reilly said this on a pathway for NFL players to play in the 2028 Olympics flag football games. This was said by what was his name? Peter O'Reilly. Quote: "The player interest is real." So the players are interested. The NFL is interested. It's interesting to see how this is going to be kind of promoted. Remember, guys, you might say, well, why would the players want to do this? Yeah, short-term goals and looking at it. Yeah, that could be that maybe nothing good in it. But if you expand this to an international situation,
there you go.
The big bucks really start rolling in. And that's why the NFL wants to promote it. The NFL players know that if it's an international game, they make more money too. So the trickle-down effect, right? That's what happens if football can go more on an international scale. It's in the players' interests as well. Yeah. So it's a combo thing. You might see a lot of that going on. Now, NFL meetings are going on. The NFL is considering eliminating a couple of things like, some of the rule changes. Now, we know about the tush push. Heard about that maybe being looked into next season, and it'll probably be eking that out or that rule against it. They're talking about other different changes that they're doing. We talked about the interviewing the coaches. That's already been passed because you can't just hire a coach until they're out. I think into the conference. You can't even interview a coach until after the conference championships or something like that now. So it gives you kind of more time to pause on hiring coaches right away. And now the new rule that is being considered to be eliminated right now is the hip drop rule. This is very important to note because it kind of, unfortunately, ended the season for one of our players last year in the most important part of the season, which was the playoffs and Tony Pollard's ankle, or I guess not ankle, it's fibula break. But again, the hip drop. Remember when you get tackled and they drop, the defender drops the hip, their ass basically into your ankle, your foot. These things increase, this kind of tackle increases the risk of injury by 25 times the rate of a standard tackle. That's per Jeff Miller, NFL exec. So what was the actual full context and quote in this here? Because this was said here by NFL executive Jeff Miller about the hip drop being eliminated because of a lot of issues. What do they say, baby?
When they use that tactic, you can see why they do. Because it can be a smaller man against a bigger man, and they're trying to get that person down because that's the object of the game. But when they do it, the runner becomes defenseless. They can't kick their way out from under, and that's the problem. That's where the injury occurs. You see the ankle gets trapped underneath the weight of the defender.
Yeah. Now, and that's what I wanted to say here. That was Rich McKay saying that. But I wanted to say that the thing about that is, if you guys know tackle football, a rule is you take the legs out. I mean, that's just, about that. And that's not illegal to take you can't go under their knee and stuff. Yeah. But you got him in the hip, in that waist hip area. That's where
that's the best way to kind of
to neutralize a bigger opponent. Yeah. And so that's the way you take the legs out. That's the way you get a big guy down, right? But players are not being sneaky, right? They just know that it's also easier to get a bigger guy down when you dive at him and fling your body weight into their legs. They don't want to break their legs or break their ankles, but that's what happens and increases that chance goes up 25% in a regular tackle.
I agree that I don't think it's being done, again, in like any kind of maliciousness or anything like that. But it is one of those things that as we know more, we can hopefully change, adapt, do better, right?
Yeah. That's the hope. I mean, player safety, and then also I want to see, I also want to see like the essence of football still kind of carried through in this, So either way, good news on that side of things when it comes to those kind of injuries. I'm a proponent of that. I like to see the players last longer and not use that hip drop. That'd be nice. Now listen, there's a crazy story from the Ravens-Titans game from last Sunday. Odell Beckham, it was a play, and some of you guys might have seen it. Odell Beckham and Jeffrey Simmons, defensive lineman for the Tennessee Titans, receiver for the Bengals, Odell Beckham, got into a fight on the field, a little shoving, but they got a fight after the game. They got into a fight. Jeffrey Simmons was looking for Odell Beckham. And the fight started.
After the game?
Yeah. Yeah, after the fight started, and he started getting into it, the Ravens players had to call security to break up the fight.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was pretty serious there. And according, Odell Beckham said this, quote, Simmons wanted that fade. And again, I don't know, he just basically said that Odell was grabbing his face mask during the fight. That was the
accusation?
Yeah, it's back and forth, guys. The two had an incident during the game. Odell kind of kneeing Simmons when he was on the ground, and he got up and shoved him. Odell was apparently defending his teammate, supposedly, after a late hit by Simmons. So back and forth, fucking fighting on the field. Listen, it's football. It gets crazy. Odell, he's a little crazy too. I don't know. Look, after the game, they've had a fight. They will get suspended if they needed to, or fined for sure. Like I'm sure you'll see, and it hasn't happened yet. But Dante Fowler throwing a punch out there. That's going to cost them.
Yeah, I expect a fine from that.
Was it Fowler? I think it was Fowler, or was it Sam Williams? One of them.
No, I think Fowler, is the one you said you saw throwing the punch, but supposedly Sam Williams and some other defensive player, I think it was Mozzie, were the two who were initially accused of kind of, I don't know about starting it, but they were the first to jump in the mix.
On our side, they started it. But our guys
I guess
fought
we finished
back.
it.
Yeah. Anthony Richardson, by the way, the Colts rookie quarterback, scheduling season-ending surgery now. We talked about this the other day. It's probably going to happen. It's official now, guys. Multiple opinions believing that the only way to fix his significant AC joint injury is with surgery. And it's got to be done sooner or later. So, again, he's already on the injured reserve. And he's trying to do right by basically their thoughts last time something like this happened was Andrew Luck. We know how that story ended. So, again, Anthony Richardson, looks like he's going to be out for the year, unfortunately for him, the young man. But he'll be back next year, stronger and better, I'm sure. The Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray today returned from the physically unable to perform list.
Oh.
So, again,
get a little spicy up there.
He's about to get back on that field. I don't know if he's officially there yet, but he's about to. He's slated to return. Same thing with the practice window for old Buda Baker. We remember the Cardinals because we played them. We know they didn't have neither guy. Both guys coming back in that field.
Not that it matters.
Oh, I know. They kicked their ass,
I
know. They're both returning off the injured reserve. Buda Baker has a hamstring injury. A little last note here comes, I guess, two more notes about injuries. First, let me start with the Rams. Because, guys, let me be honest. We're getting a little sneak peek already. What do you say? To our next opponent, the Los Angeles Rams in Dallas.
We kind of have to because, as you guys know, as much as we'd love to be here with you guys next week doing our usual game day reaction live stream, we'll actually be taking Little G and Little J to their first ever Dallas Cowboy game, their first ever NFL game. So can't wait. Yeah. It's going to be a great experience. So obviously that means that we do have to,
we're gonna
start previewing a tiny bit.
A little This is more like a get in your heads.
Pre-preview.
Yeah, this is like a little get in your heads kind of thing that they're going to be out on running backs when it comes to us. The Rams placed running back Ronnie Rivers on injured reserve. We knew this was coming, but he's out for at least a minimum of 4 weeks. Obviously, that means our game. He's out. No IR currently for Kyren Williams, who's their big star running back this last week. Had a lot of yards, got injured. But he's not going to IR, but the word is he's going to miss multiple games. And again, at the latest, should be back by week 10. That's we're playing the Giants. It doesn't affect us at all. But 2 weeks, 3 weeks earlier, it's the Rams and Cowboys. Kyren Williams not playing. Not just this week, but he ain't playing next week against the Cowboys. So, again, I just want to make sure Kyren Williams, he's their best running back right now. Suffered an ankle sprain on Sunday. Their backup, Ronnie Rivers, on injured reserve. They have no running backs. Again, they picked up 3 guys literally from their practice squad or other teams' practice squads. Zach Evans, Royce Freeman, and Myles Gaskins. They'll be the 3 starters this week for the Rams. And those are the 3 guys probably be the starters against us next week in Dallas against the Rams as we continue our season at that point. So, again, when you look at these schedules here, you're seeing who's after the Rams. So another preview of the Eagles for just a quick second, because it's incredible, guys. And you look at our games coming up, baby. bye week, Rams, Eagles, Giants, Panthers, Washington, Seattle, the Eagles again.
Yeah.
No, again, just stopping there for a minute. Of course, you see the last 4 games, but just the next group of games there, the next 7 games, I would say we have a chance to win almost all of them. If we could go 6-1, guys. Or I'm sorry, 5-1. You take a loss to one of the Eagle games. I'm just throwing it out there. We can get the rest, right? So if that's the case, what would our record be at that point, right? Would be what? 7-3 or something like that?
No, because I guess so. Yeah. If you take one more,
we have 4 or 5. So we 9-3 would be our record at that point with 4 games to go. Now the Eagles, look, they're right now currently 5-1.
Yeah.
Just look at the Eagles' next 7 games. They're against teams who right now are currently in the top 6 in Super Bowl odds to win the Super Bowl. Well, Super Bowl.
So as rough as part of our schedule might look, the Eagles' schedule is looking a lot rougher these next few weeks. And if they've already taken an L just this past week, it does mean a much tougher challenge for them.
Well, who are some of the games they play? Who are some of the teams? Listen, they play the Dolphins.
Obviously, they're hot right now.
I'm watching that game.
That's going to be probably a really fun game.
The Cowboy game, of course. You see us there, week 9.
The best game.
And they play the Cowboys again, week 14.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, Dolphins, Cowboys. The Chiefs.
Enough said.
The Bills.
Say less.
The Niners.
6
out of the next 7 games. I just read them to you. So, they got 1 easy game and 6 tough fucking games. So, again, if they lose 2 or 3 of these games, when we win our games, we lose 1. I'm saying that puts us in front of the Eagles by 1. Just saying, things happen. Seasons continue. People get figured out. There's injuries on all teams. So you got to let it play out, but we got to still get better.
Exactly.
This is part of the process of getting better for the Cowboys. This is a chance you got to be up on this team by the time we're done with them week 14.
I think it's more take advantage of the little bit of luck that has been granted to you, Dallas, and the fact that your fuck-ups weren't enough to derail the season. Just be thankful for that.
Not yet.
Do better. I'm
talking about up to this point, but the thing that scares me is at the end of the season, those fuck-ups will come and haunt us again. That's why those fuck-ups had to be fixed. So I agree with you 100%. All the fuck-ups we've had so far still can be pulled out and saved, if we do the right corrections.
I want to do a shout-out here to Calvin Richards.
Oh, okay, let's do it.
Coming through with a $3 holler.
Ooh.
In just a moment here, you'll see Stubby up. There you go. You see it? I got ahead of it this time. Thank you, Calvin Richards. Much love. The $3 holler saying, I'm never sure which team will show up.
Yeah, it reminds me of the last couple of years. We're 12-5, but sometimes against the better teams, our team didn't show up. Not the players, sometimes the coaching, sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So it's a combination of crap.
There's layers to it.
Yes, a lot of crappy layers to that.
Thank you, Calvin. Kicking it off officially here.
Woo! Much extra love there again.
So, and sorry about that, Jason. Again, you're happy birthday to Papa Gordon.
Oh, hell yeah. Happy birthday to Renfro Sr. there. So, appreciate you, Jason, of course. And much love to Calvin Richard with that $3 holler, that Brandon Cook's $3 Cook holler. But, again, he's in 5th place now, all by himself, Calvin Richard. And also 7 points, Trayvon Diggs. Stubby's got control of that right now. So anyway, I just thought I'd mention those games coming up. I think the Cowboys got to take control here. The next 7 weeks, okay, skip that. Skip this week for us. The next 6 weeks, so the next 6 games, Cowboys have to win 5 of those 6. That's all. Am I asking for a lot when it comes to teams like the Rams, the Panthers, Washington, the Giants? That's 4 right there. All right? You throw in the Seahawks, which are a little tougher, and then the Eagles twice, the tough games. Come on. Let's split that one at the very least. We should be 9-3 by week 15. That's my expectation if this team wants to get me inspired that I can believe in these mother effers into the playoffs. Because then you got 4 tough ones there to end the season. On the road to Washington, I still put it in there. All 4 tough games. Let's make that true run for the playoffs at that point. I know it really starts against the Eagles, but that's a divisional game. Let's get them there. Either way, the Cowboys should be. By the time we get to the Eagles, we should be 8-3 at the we might be 9-3 at the very least at that point. 9-2 actually. So let's see what happens as we continue this season going on beyond. But again, just letting you know, the Eagles ain't having an easy schedule either. Niners aren't either. And we're 1 game back on them, a tiebreaker. Unfortunately, we're 2 games really back on the Niners when you look at the tiebreaker. So I just wanted to throw that out there when it comes to the schedule. I also want to kind of throw out something here about our Cowboys, but it's not even a Cowboy, true Cowboy topic as far as football is concerned. It's more of media stuff. But I'll stop here for a second if you want and kind of get a couple of quick thoughts on what I just discussed about. I don't know if anybody talked about the Cowboy stuff I was just discussing here, in relation to.
Not specifically, but bad intentions to say Prescott's the quarterback, but to put things in more perspective, he has one more player than Daniel Jones.
He does, but, I mean, so what? I mean, I just...
I'm not really sure what you're trying to say there.
I mean, the scheme...
Like, are you comparing...
It's completely different.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I have to be honest, bad intentions. Not really sure what you're trying to say there. Plus, who would you count as the one more player other than Daniel Jones? Like, are you saying the team is made up of Dak Prescott plus 1? What, Micah? Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out. That's all. We're rolling back. Yeah, I think I shouted out Jason. Hold on, Rodriguez also said, next contract's Micah and Dak and the Cowboys. If you get hurt playing flag football, your contract is void.
Yeah, I mean, again, that in
I'm
itself.
Sure there is like a clause
but
in
itself,
most contracts.
if the NFL wants it done.
Well, not about flag football specifically,
right.
just
no,
that if you get hurt doing dumb shit, and they usually quantify vaguely some of that dumb shit, or it's more specifically when it comes to things like bungee jumping or things like that. But basically, if you do something that's too risky and you get hurt doing it, we can take your money.
But no, they would not void that. You know why? Because the NFL wants to promote flag football, so they'll probably give players incentives to go do that. I believe that none of our players should do that. If you want to win football, I don't give a fuck about flag football when you talk about the Cowboys going for 6.
I think a better, more fun way of doing it is trying to find maybe, I hate to say it, but maybe like a few older veteran players that wouldn't mind running around playing some flag football. I'm just saying, like Des Bryant types. You know what I mean? Like, if they're physically able.
I brought up Andrew Luck, who wouldn't mind playing. I'm sure he could play, regular football. He don't want to get hit.
In a laid-back, classic, flag football game. I don't know. Just throwing it out.
Well, yeah, but the NFL wants it to be taken serious, kind of like the NBA Dream Team days, and now we got our starter, our players from the Olympic, playing in the Olympics in basketball. They want and in hockey, they want that.
If they wanted people to take it serious, then they should do it with college players and not NFL players.
And that's the way they used to do it for basketball. But for football, I'm hearing they want NFL players. The NFL wants NFL players.
Of course, I just personally think that they're better off bringing in college kids because one. Maybe it gives some scrub an extra chance to look good in front of a coach. You never know. But 2, isn't that just promoting the future of the NFL? Like, I don't know. To me, it makes sense. Hell, throw in a few NFL players, sure.
The way I look at it,
I don't know.
The way I look at it is like this: you don't need flag football. Like, you don't need flag football players. Like NFL players to play flag football because not every NFL player is going to be good at flag football. Sometimes you need a smaller, quicker person sometimes, like a Deuce Vaughn, right? Who maybe can't hack it in the NFL, let's say, in the end. But he'd be maybe fantastic and hard to stop in flag football. So I think you're looking at the Deuce Vaughn types, kind of those guys, maybe in the NFL, but on the fringes, they're specialists, like a lesser, of importance or valued Tyreek Hill type guys. Those are flag football specialists there, right? So NFL's going to promote it. Whatever they're going to do it, we'll see. But I agree with you guys. I do not want to see any Cowboy players playing flag football. And they will not void the contract because the NFL wants this to be promoted. And the players want it promoted as well. So, yeah, I'm not looking at that right now going forward. Yeah. So, anyway, that was the schedule of the Eagles. I don't know if any other quick comments, baby, before we get moving.
Pioneer said flag football is for girls in Texas.
Well, again, Some parents don't want boys to play, with tackle football and that kind of stuff. But hey, I see a lot of great kids play football and flag football and hone and kind of fine tune their skills for tackle football because, of just moving and not being touched almost. It improves them and their, agility in tackle football. And they were great there too, I'm just saying. But, it gives everybody a chance to play. Again, internationally speaking, that would take off more than NFL football will. And you can't do NFL football in the Olympics because you're going to need a week break most of the time between games. And they don't have that kind of time for the Olympics. So flag football is the best you're going to get in the Olympics. So I'm down with it. I'm good with that. And yes, women's league and men's league, let's do it. I'm cool with that too.
I don't think promoting flag football takes away from regular football. And I agree, beast mode, right? We don't want to see regular football turn into flag football.
I agree.
At the end of the day, we want to see football, right?
As best as possible with the injury
But
situation.
yeah, I don't think that the way to go is to sit there and try to like shit talk flag football. Like, to me, it's all football.
So
it's all fun. And yeah, different kinds.
It's another option.
Styles,
it's another
right?
option. But it's different than regular football. So
we're not comparing Coke to Diet Coke here, though, right? Like, we're not downgrading that much.
No. I agree with you there. You can't say flag football is great and watch it. It's not NFL football. It's not tackle football. That takes away some of it. But as an Olympic sport, I'm cool with it. There's no reason why none of us should be against that. But NFL's hitting football, hey, that's for the big boys. That's going to happen in the NFL only, in college only, in Pee Wee fields.
It would be kind of cool. As much as I would hate it on a Cowboy level, it would be cool to see a Cowboy representing in the Olympics, flag football.
Yeah, a backup of some sort. I'm cool with that. Yeah, like Turpin. Like, Turpin's a great player for flag football, right? Deuce Vaughn. Go Deuce, go Turpin. Go out there and dominate flag football for America in the Olympics.
Yeah,
I'm
and
down.
Jason, again, we're glad you're able to be here tonight. Always miss seeing everybody here when they're not able to make it, especially because we know, life
busy.
Makes MCF a late night adventure.
Yeah, and also, just like Jason, sometimes you guys miss a show here and there. It happens, right? We had to miss a show yesterday. Might have to miss another one coming down later in the week. So, just make sure it's all good. It's a bye week. We're all kind of taking a breath. But we'll be back at things, if not missing any more days. But again, it's more about life, right? It gets in the way sometimes. So
it's also,
we juggle it as best we
MCW's
can.
birthday week, so
Ooh,
and we
you let
also
the cat
have,
out the bag, baby.
No, it's okay. It's it's the
yes, it's a big birthday weekend for her, if you know what I mean.
But
big
we
numbers,
also have because life never stops, and neither do the Cowboys, neither does football, and especially not parenting. We also have a lot of parenting obligations and things this weekend.
Yeah, we
have very busy little children.
Yeah, so either way. It's good that we do, actually. But yes, let's get back to our...
Not they'd be little freeloaders.
Now we got to get back to our Cowboys, and that is Micah Parsons. What I mean by Micah today, and yesterday, it was really yesterday, where Micah Parsons went to war with the media. Now, I usually have no problem with this stuff. It's whatever. We know what he said already the other day about the Eagles, and they don't get criticized. Dak's going up and down the field and not better than Jalen Hurts. Listen, I don't know if I agree with Micah.
You know the funny thing about war, though? Whether you agree with someone or not, you're kind of forced to pick a side. And I'm back in the blue all the way here, Micah Parsons.
Of course. I agree with you. Of course, Micah, I love him defending Dak. I love him defending the star. I get it. And he's showing some of that passion that you like to see from a player that represents your team, right? Mm-hmm. So no question. But now it gets into a media back and forth, a media war, and that's the part I don't like. Remember Micah got on board after his rookie year, second year, to now be on with Skip and Shannon on Undisputed or whatever the fuck that shit. Just think about that. We were all, you guys in the chat too, were like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to have Micah Parsons having to talk with these idiots, these freaking clout chasers and, click mongers to, have to rail Micah's head whenever he is coming off a loss or bad game or something like this, right? So we never liked it. Thankfully, Micah just went away from that. He just broke the contract. He said, I'm not doing this anymore. Good for him. But yeah, now he's in a media war on his own podcast thing there, right? With the gaming podcast. Now he's in his media war with a lot of different people. Now, he started with Emmanuel Acho. It feels like Tupac, right? Fuck your bitch and the click you claim. Because it sounds like he's just like, I'm going to name everybody. Fuck you, Jay-Z. Fuck you. First I was talking about Biggie. So anyways, Emmanuel Acho talked shit about Micah, right? He kind of responded to Micah. First he said that the San Francisco players that were missing are more important than the Cleveland Brown players that were missing. And then, and when he said that, he also added there, quote, hold on now, Micah Parsons. I didn't make an excuse for the Niners' loss. I just provided an explanation. How many times do we explain things here at My Cowboys Family on why certain things in context happen for the Cowboys, good or bad or ugly, right? This is a fucking excuse from Emmanuel Acho. It's obvious he wants to play his side and say, hey, my team is still nothing to worry about because
a serious
of a
case
couple guys out.
Whataboutism.
Yes.
Right? And sometimes, it happens to all of us, right? Let's say I forget to run the dishwasher, right? Mr. MCF gets on my case. Oh, you didn't run the dishwasher. Okay, yeah, but you didn't take out the trash. That's not what we're talking about here.
Right.
It's the dishwasher, and I'm just trying to,
Yeah. Thank you for being fair there. No, the thing is that if you don't have direct evidence linking the injuries and that loss, that's where it's just bullshit. That is where it's an excuse.
If you lose your number one corner and then your corners do really shitty and your corners allow a lot of touchdowns or allow first downs and stuff, there you go. There's evidence, reasons, backing.
Point is, keep the damn same energy when your team takes the L, right? When Acho's team takes, the Niners take an L. Micah responded saying, quote, anything other than the truth is sugarcoating. Sugarcoating is an excuse. Give the same energy. I second that, as I just kind of said. Micah also said, I never said I was better than anyone else. Because he also, Acho brought up that no one talks about, TJ Watt or Myles Garrett the way they talk about Micah Parsons. And he said, quote, I never said I was better than anyone. It's me versus me. I love that.
And I agree. We've never heard Micah say anything about anyone else other than I'm trying to beat myself.
It's the media, and specifically Emmanuel Acho, bringing up that narrative. Bring up the narrative like, well, look at Micah. You don't hear anybody talk about these other guys. You hear them only talk about Micah. So, again, he brought up the fact that if Khalil Mack, he got six sacks, no one talked about it too much. If Micah had 6 sacks, they'd have to rename his show to Micah Parsons Show. So that was Acho's shots. Micah Parsons said, quote, no way or form do I think all analysts are bad. I just think some live in the double standard bubble. I don't shy away from criticism, but please understand everyone needs the same energy. So that's kind of where it seemed to end with Acho, at least it slowed down from there. Richard Sherman took an issue with Micah Parsons' plea for the media to ease up on the Cowboys. Richard Sherman said, quote, I've got a very simple solution for you, brother. Don't get beat by 32 on prime time. Meaning, don't lose 42-10 against the Niners on prime time. That's the answer Richard Sherman had. Again, whatever. Fuck Richard Sherman.
You know what's funny, though? Out of all the commentary, Richard Sherman is probably the only one who, one, has the right to talk any shit, and two, he's probably the closest one, because he's not out here necessarily even shit-talking Micah or whatever, just saying, you want to talk that? Don't let your ass get beat and handed to you. That's it. He didn't keep shit talking. He didn't down Micah. He didn't try to do this or that. He just straight up said, when your team takes an L like that, you don't get to talk crap. And I don't necessarily disagree with that statement, although I 100% agree with Micah's earlier statement, basically saying, keep that same energy and stop with the double standards. When it comes to the crap talking you're going to do to me, do it to everyone who's performing like me.
Or the Cowboys. Or Dak. That's what the guy was talking about,
and
right?
I'm not a Sherman fan either. Let me make that clear. But I don't necessarily think he was out of pocket for the comment that he made.
Kimberly A., who was on Get Up, she actually reacted to Micah Parsons' comments as well about the criticism that the Cowboys have received. And she said, quote, where was Micah Parsons in February? He was at home. He was watching the Eagles in the Super Bowl. You have the same energy, end quote. And again, this is what Micah responded to, quote, laugh out loud. I watched Patrick Mahomes win Super Bowl MVP. What criteria do you analysts use? Marcus Spears, like, since when in our era did we say, holy shit, in your second place, you're the greatest? There's only one champion. Who's next?
Again,
end quote.
This is what I mean by Richard Sherman's the only one whose comment at least holds up on its own.
Micah didn't even have a reaction to that comment.
No,
I guess he kind of agreed.
Because because you know what? That's what I'm saying. He didn't respond to Sherman's comment because Sherman had a little bit of a point there, and Micah knows it too. Micah's not dumb. He is a player just like everybody else. But whatever her point was trying to be there, like a swing and a miss in a huge way. You don't get to talk about the guy who came second. Like we said, there's no honorary awards or stickers or asterisks next to wins or losses.
The biggest, this is to me one of the bigger ones, though, the moving of the goalpost, the proof. This is what
saying in the chat.
This is what the Dak haters do, and this is what the Cowboy haters do. I'm not talking about the Dak doubters. I have some questions about Dak here. I'm a Dak supporter, but there's some issues Dak has to fix. It's still, the Dak haters. They don't care what happens. The defense is going to cost us the game. It's on Dak. That's the way they think. But the way that the Dallas Cowboy haters think is the way that Colin Cowherd thinks. So he made a whole case last week before the Charger game with the Cowboys, on why the Chargers would beat the Cowboys. He talked about the Chargers' offensive line being very good. He talked about Justin Herbert being great. He talked about Keenan Allen being a, quote, Hall of Fame receiver. Now, that was before the Cowboys played. This is to the Cowboy game. Chargers going to defeat the Cowboys because of these reasons. Of course, we know the Cowboys won. Dak Prescott played very well. And guess what Colin Cowherd said about Micah Parsons? Hey, stop criticizing the Cowboys the way you guys make it even, right? Here's what Cowherd said, quote, "Calm down, Micah Parsons. You beat the terrible Chargers." You beat the terrible Chargers. Didn't he just say that that the quarterback was great? Offensive line very good. Keenan Allen, Hall of Famer. That's why they were going to beat the Cowboys. He was wrong. The Chargers lost to the Cowboys 20-17. And then he said to Micah, "Hey, calm down. You beat the terrible Chargers." So again, that shows me how obvious national media like Colin Cowherd moves the goalpost to say, hey, this week the Cowboys are playing a very good Chargers team. When we beat them, even by 3 in a struggle, the Chargers were terrible. Colin Cowherd also said, quote, when Dallas beats the Chargers, he said this about comments from Micah Parsons, quote, "When Dallas beats the Chargers and they see it as a status or validation, but I do not," end quote. Now, I don't see this as a status or validation when it comes to the Cowboys winning and beating the Chargers the way they did. But to say that they were, I don't like anybody who said, "Oh, we're going to be great now because we beat the Chargers." That's bullshit. No one's saying that. I don't think Micah said that. I just think that he's trying to say when you criticize the Cowboys in this direction, or Dak in this direction, it's not even when you criticize other teams, which is true. We've known this for years. Micah just had enough of that shit, I guess you can say.
Cowherd is definitely putting a lot of words into Micah's mouth that he never said or insinuated or hinted at in any way, form, or fashion. Heck, not a single person after the game seemed to ever imply that somehow beating the Chargers was like, okay, we're ready for the Super Bowl. They literally just said, we did what we had to do. We still have a lot of things to work on. That was 100% the message from basically every person out there.
Exactly.
The only person who got superior praise was Marquise Bell, and rightfully so, because he actually played a fan-fucking-tastic game.
Yeah, I mean, some guys did play a game, good game, great game, and they get praised, but it's more to me about the fact that the media will move the goalposts just like that. Literally, a couple of days before the game, the Chargers are great, and then literally 24 hours after they got their asses kicked by the Cowboys, everyone's saying how the Chargers suck. This is what always happens. You know what Micah was doing during this time of all these things going out and hitting a couple of his responses? Last night he was at the Rangers game, the Texas Rangers game.
Oh, nice.
Yep, so he was
Good
there.
for him.
Unfortunately, I think they lost. I mean, now they lost tonight. It's 2-2 right now. It's tied. So that's unfortunate. We want the Rangers, of course, to win. I'm hoping they win. If they do, we might be able to go to Game 1. Who knows? Game 1 of the World Series. We'll be in town for that, possibly. That'd be kind of an exciting thing.
Cool experience.
If we can get our hands on tickets and something lucky happens like that. Anyways, moving on, guys. Again, I don't know if anybody has any comments on Micah or his thoughts on...
I mean, of course, I was chatting in the chat.
Yeah, let's hear a couple of quick mentions. I'm sorry.
So let me go ahead and, of course, my personal comment here. I said, who the heck is just giving these talking head jobs to anyone? Because, man, I guess... I used to think that, let's say... Cowboy YouTube with some of the clickbait and stuff like that, or some of the other stuff was a little cuckoo or whatever, but man, these talking heads, they're getting paid. This is their jobs, and they're doing this, so I don't know, that always cracks me up. I think the more disappointing part is how many of these former players are the ones coming out and saying this type of crap too. So, real quick, let me hit up the chat here. Bruce got the toxic juice, said it. They'll all move the goalposts in some fashion for Dallas.
Of course. We know this, though.
Pioneer saying, that's fair, but Sherman loves to cry about that Super Bowl choke. Jason Renfro pointing out, Sherman's just mad because he didn't get to play for the Cowboys.
That's a good one. He was a little of an option for a little bit, and the Cowboys said, nah, you're too old.
Mm-hmm. And Smody saying Chris Broussard's another one talking shit.
Yeah.
So...
I couldn't fit them all on my notes. I'm sorry, guys.
Let me see. Pioneer saying, that's why we are America's team.
Yep.
They want us on that wall, and they need us on that wall.
Yeah. Just like, what's his name? A Few Good Men. That's the quote there from Jack Nicholson.
Oh, yeah.
They want us on the wall. They need us on that wall. So, exactly that.
Beast Mode saying, Herbert's regressed. He sucks now more, or is it Kellen more? I was actually about to respond to that comment. Before I had to focus my attention on what Mr. MCF was saying. But realistically speaking, I think it's a twofold problem. One of them is absolutely Kellen Moore. But the other one is that scary thing that happens the second you pay a quarterback, which is apparently they suck that year. I'm just throwing it out there. Don't ask me what, why, where, when, how. But 9 out of 10 quarterbacks, the year they get paid, just do not look that great. And I'm sorry, you can try to back it up with whatever you want, but at least in the last 5 years, I think there's only been like one quarterback that's done pretty solidly, and even Jalen Hurts has not looked as solid, as great as he did even last year. Yeah, just say like the best out of the quarterbacks that just got paid this year, out of all of them, Jalen Hurts is clearly doing the best, and even he is still not looking as good as he did last year. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm just going to say this. When you're paying a quarterback that much money, the expectations are through the roof. All of them have to be Joe Montana, and that's the problem. When Dak got paid, everyone said, that's Joe Montana now. No, and that's what. And Herbert, I'm just going to say this. Herbert is I think Dak's even better than Herbert if you manage him correctly. It's not that Herbert sucks. I don't think it's Herbert. It's just these are the top of the line quarterbacks right now in the NFL. No, I'm not talking. I think someone in the chat said that. I'm just saying like. Or you said that
he was trying to say he's playing worse this year. Is it that he sucks, or is it Kellen Moore?
And I
think it's the fact that he got paid and Kellen Moore.
I don't think it's just that he got paid, but I do think that's you get paid, you get a little relaxed. But I also think that I mean, look, Joe Burrow got paid and he's looking like crap out there, right?
I'm not expecting money. I'm not expecting Joe Montana to come after the paycheck. Right. But what I'm trying to say is fans do, and that's why I think sometimes you see the money doesn't come, the Montana doesn't come out of after the paycheck, but the fans expect that. I guess
the fans expect that from Dak when he got paid, and now the number is at 53, 54, 55 million. Every guy signed to that number is expected the same thing. Joe Burrow, Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Mahomes, all of them, Super Bowl expectations are now this year. You got to win the Super Bowl. That's what they're expecting from the fan bases, and I'm just saying that's not realistic. And these quarterbacks are not going to ever meet that level of greatness or elite because they're not all going to be the best quarterbacks since Joe Montana. Is what I'm trying to say. It's my thought on that. And you said yours, and I said mine. Now, any other quick comments because we're ready to move on in this here. We got enough Micah Parsons.
I think perfect comment. Jason Rufford said, "Who are the 8 players that the Cowboys were working out today?"
Perfect timing for that. Exactly what I want to get to. Now, first thing comes this: the Cowboys lost a player today. We lost an offensive lineman today. Let me explain how. Injuries for the Giants caused us to lose a Cowboy player. What, you may ask? Well, the Giants lost their offensive guard, Shane Lemieux, starting guard. Tore his bicep yesterday in practice. Now on IR. You know those torn biceps put you out for the year. So he's probably gone for the year, offensive lineman Shane Lemieux. To fill his spot, guess what they did? Not his spot on the 50, saying, I guess you could say not, I guess they are putting on a 53. They signed our practice squad offensive lineman, our center, Sean Harlow. The name sounds familiar for the Giant fans because he was literally on the Giants. He was released. When he was released, we picked him up after he cleared waivers, put him on our practice squad, and he was elevated and active for one game for the Cowboys. Remember that week we didn't have Biotish and didn't have a backup? Mm-hmm. Brock Hoffman and Sean Harlow were both elevated. Harlow was the backup to Brock Hoffman. So, again, Sean Harlow now completely off the Cowboy team. Brock Hoffman off the practice squad. Of course, he's on the 53-man roster. He's our backup on the 53-man roster now. So, the Cowboys then, now knowing we have an open practice squad spot, hey, let's work out some guys. Which is, by the way, I want to make sure it's clear. This is normal bye-week activity from the Cowboys. All right? They want to know who's healthy out there, who's available, who's ready to play if the Cowboys have to sign them in this bye week. And the Cowboys worked out 8 players. Guard, Chris Glasser. Guard, Adam Panky. Hanky. Guard, Lashavius Simmons. Who, by the way, guys, Lashavius Simmons, intriguing only from a grading perspective. Preseason last year, overall preseason grade, he had a 92.7 grade from PFF, which is a great guy to say a guide to tell you then this player is pretty solid. Now this preseason in 2023, he had a 71.5 overall preseason grade. A little bit of a drop there, 20 points, but still not even bad for a practice squad guy, right? So we'll see if the Cowboys go with Lashavius Simmons. They got tackle Badara Traore. who is, again, an offensive lineman. That's 4 offensive linemen we worked out. That's half the guys, O-linemen. Linebackers, Buddy Johnson. Linebacker, Davian Taylor. 2 linebackers, part of the workout crew here, and 2 tight ends. Tight end E.J. Jenkins and tight end Eric Saubert. Again, normal bye-week activity. We'll see what happens. Most of these guys, I don't know much about. I'm going to be honest, guys. So we'll see who the Cowboys... I'm not going to sit here and talk about them all. Cowboys may sign one. They may sign none. And they're practice squad guys. They're not going to be playing for the Cowboys anytime soon. So, blah. Blah on those new signings. You know what I mean? But let's talk about other moves the Cowboys may make in a real way. Trades. What are the trades going on right now in the NFL? What may be the Cowboys looking at things when it comes to trading and helping improving this star? Well, currently, today, the Jets informed Chiefs wide receiver Mecole Hardman that he is being sent back to the Kansas City Chiefs. He was started with the Chiefs. Hardman went from the Chiefs to the Jets. Now he's back to the Chiefs, and they're trading him for a late-round draft swap. Don't even know the numbers on it. It's probably a 6th. It's probably
late round. Implies 5th, 6th, or 7th, but probably closer to 6th or 7th.
Yeah, the swap means probably like a 7th, their 7th rounder for the other 7th rounder, or a 6th and the player, or 7th and the player for a 6th, something like that. What happens usually. So, anyways, trades going on right now. You're seeing a lot of late round trades going down. Here's one that would be a lot more than a late round trade. The Titans right now are supposedly expecting to explore trade options before the trade deadline, guys, which is coming right around the corner here at the end of the month. So the trade options for Derrick Henry, a running back who's getting paid a lot of money. He turns 30 in January. And again, his time as a top running back, in my opinion, it's not much longer going on for him. He's on the way down.
The thing is, he has enough juice left in him. If a team is trying to contend right here, right now, like I could easily see a team like, for example, Jacksonville. Like, forget whatever they have going on at running back.
ETN.
We're talking about adding to the team, adding the type of player that can help get your offense to that slightly next level.
Well, what about the fact that a lot of people are trying to say the Cowboys should go after him? And I'm not saying it as a joke. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But I'm saying there's really a lot of people.
In the chat said, go get Derrick Henry.
And a lot of people do. Okay, you want a difference maker. I'm just saying, he's for this year, for now, he's a big running back. Is going to be, you want to have the inside running ability? There you go.
Yeah, there's no denying the impact Henry would have on our team right now. And obviously, for probably at least another year, I think.
Well, again, the money hit for the running back spot after you're paying $10 million plus for Tony Pollard is probably. I just don't see the Cowboys logically doing this. In my opinion, I don't see it happening. Now, when you look at what would the Cowboys have to trade for someone like Henry? His cost,
like what would he be worth?
Yeah, I mean his cost. Again, it's not gonna be like $20 million. Obviously, it's like 14, whatever he's being paid. You want to try to get. You're gonna have to give up a high draft pick, a second rounder. Who knows? But if you look at our front thumbnail here, right at the bottom of the screen, the bottom right, in between Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, question marks about who could be a guy we trade for. Another name coming up, and keep this in mind, guys. I'm only mentioning these 2 names currently because the 2 new names that pop up, right? I mean, we know about Henry already. We know about Patrick Surtain, all right? And he's a guy from Denver. They don't seem they want to trade, but it's a name you keep hearing floated around. And then you have Devonte Adams from the Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders. These are the 3 big names. And I got to say, there's no fucking way I think the Cowboys went after any of these guys.
I agree. But out of all those names, I have to admit that Devonte Adams interests me the most and piques my interest the most. For me personally.
Right.
And it is that combination of I actually, like, if the Cowboys were to go after one of these 3 guys, Devonte Adams seems to be the guy that I think they'd go after. And as far as who I actually think could contribute more, I actually do kind of have to give it more to Devonte Adams, even more so than a Derrick Henry type, just because of a variety of reasons. And I'm not trying to bore anybody here. But long story short, I just don't think McCarthy would use our running backs as effectively as I think that Devonte Adams could impact our receiving game. Does that make sense?
It kind of makes sense, but my problem is McCarthy using the same scheme. Does it matter who's in there?
That's kind of my point. McCarthy would use the same exact scheme, and I think Devonte Adams would do better within it.
I think Henry would probably, because we run so much dumbly inside on some plays this year, interior runs, like against, for instance, against the Chargers. We kept running inside. Why don't we go outside? Well, we kept running inside, didn't get anything. Is that our offensive line, their defensive line, or it could, if we had Henry, would that have been more successful?
Derrick Henry obviously has more power, but even he gets stopped a good chunk of times when you're running stupidly. Like, I
know, but I agree. But he's 6'5". He's 250 something pounds.
I don't disagree that he'll probably break a little bit more out of that.
A lot, yeah.
But if I'm thinking more long term. That shit can get you in the playoffs. That shit will not get you past the first round.
But see, I'm thinking long term too. In the sense of this season, more than like, let's say, short term overall as a trade. You said right now we want to get fixed. To me, Devonte Adams is going to be placed into a scheme that's going to be hurting him, and that's Mike McCarthy's fault. I think that running the ball, even if you run dumb, and you're still going to get 2 yards instead of none.
Basically, Henry is still good enough that even stupid is going to get you forward progress.
And stupid with Devonte Adams makes him disappear. Like you think Diva was CeeDee Lamb? You're gonna see real Diva.
It's not like Henry fumbles very often,
nope.
So you got sure hands.
All I'm saying is, if I had to go for a guy of the top 3 names, I
guess you talked me back to Henry.
Patrick Surtain though is not a bad guy either.
No,
because you want to get that Trayvon Diggs kind of replacement, the guy who's gonna be in there and kind of hold it down with Stephon Gilmore. You make the whole defense elite again, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure
with
if
someone
it
like
was up
Surtain.
to Dan Quinn, he would probably be jumping on his couch for a guy like Surtain.
So we're talking about all these crazy players. There's 3 players, and listen, the Cowboys do it as a breaking news situation.
Who do you think has a better chance? One of these 3 guys ending up in Dallas, or a snowball chance in hell?
I think a snowball chance in hell.
That
has a better chance of not melting.
I disagree. I agree.
Okay. I'm like, what? We're gonna get into this one now.
I'll fight you right now.
Yeah. So outside of that happening, guys, what's the real? Let me hear some thoughts in there in the chat. Just a couple. I don't want to even discuss them. I just want to have a couple thoughts.
Literally said the same thing that I jokingly said to you when we were briefly discussing some of this. He said we can just give up a 2nd-round pick. We don't do good with those anyway.
Exactly.
Didn't I straight up say exactly that?
You said if we don't do we don't do good in the 2nd round, give up that 2nd rounder, right?
I'm paraphrasing myself, but I'm almost positive. I said we're better off trading a 2nd or 3rd round pick. Because our 5th and 6th round picks are the guys that are actually doing good. Those are the ones we hit on.
Exactly. Keep the late rounders. And then go for a bigger hit a bigger player this year if you want. You got the salary cap if you wanted to. But it's the long-term kind of money that I think the Cowboys don't want to see out the window. They want to keep that long-term money.
Beast Mode 7 McCarthy likes the big running backs. He likes all his backs and ends.
Yes, the Cowboys want to make the move. The Cowboys want to make the move to really make this move, the real move. Devonte Adams, Derrick Henry, and Patrick Surtain. Bring them in. Let's go win that Super Bowl.
Yeah, Bruce wants to get Jerry Jeudy.
Again, and as we talk about this, let me move on to real options. Jerry Jeudy could be one of those guys. Let me explain. First and foremost, NFL trade deadline right around the corner here. I think it's October 28th or 9th, something like that.
Yeah, it's like right before Halloween, I think.
Yeah, it's right before Halloween. And let me look at cornerback. We talked about cornerback for a quick second here with Patrick Surtain. What are some options for again, looking at, and I'm going to say, I got to do this, guys, because they bother me so much sometimes, the front office. And
well, it's funny because earlier, at the beginning of the stream, when you were talking about the Goodell stuff, I think it was Bruce who made a joke basically saying, I don't know who's the bigger clown, Goodell or the Joneses. And I said, no, the Joneses are the clowns. Goodell's running the whole circus.
He's Barnum and Bailey. He's Barnum and Bailey. These are the clowns of the circus, of the show. Look, NFL trade deadline here. Cornerbacks. Who would you look at here? Who could these 2 guys look for to make a trade? Would it be a late round, early round? How about these guys at cornerback? Cornerback, right? No Trayvon Diggs. What about Jalen Johnson from the Chicago Bears? Dante Jackson from the Carolina Panthers. Christian Fulton. We know him a lot. Tennessee Titans now. Jalen Johnson, Dante Jackson, Christian Fulton. These 3 guys currently are rumored to be on a tradable, on the trade block from their respective teams. So this is what I mean by realistic. All right? These guys are rumored to be on the trading block. They all 3 could be placed on the opposite side of Stephon Gilmore. This would then allow Jerron Bland to go back inside, lock up the slot. The nickel cornerback,
give us some depth at corner too, in the sense that now Jordan Lewis isn't overtaxing himself in the slot.
Getting
and
burned bad.
Amongst other things, yeah.
So again, if you can acquire one, you don't have to get a practice or 10 to make the whole difference. You want to make a difference getting a very good outside corner and being able to move your fantastic Deron Bland into a spot that really locks down quarterbacks in a more elite way for the defense. So that's a good move there. Any of these three guys would be great. You get them for a late round pick. You can really, and I'm talking about a 6th, a 7th rounder possibly. I know we like to use those. I would go for one of these guys to help our team right now, without breaking the bank at all. So again, now, I think we can go as high with one of these guys, Christian Fulton. These guys could also demand more of a higher rate. Let's say, I would say maybe a day 2 pick, maybe a 3rd rounder at the most. Would that be worth it? If we have long-term plans, maybe so. If not, maybe not. Now, what about linebacker Jordan Hicks? We'll go to linebacker real quick. Maybe that's really the one name that I know that's available that the Cowboys would be maybe willing to make a real trade. Linebacker Jordan Hicks.
I would only trade for a Hicks or a Fulton in the sense that linebacker and corner are the only positions worth realistically making a move for at this moment. We're talking trade here, right? So that's like the specific factor, right? If you're trading, you got to hit the big impact, and you do have to try to get at least someone worth getting a tiny bit.
Listen, defense is one thing when you plug him in, the right guy into the right number of snaps. For Dan Quinn, you get a superstar of that player. You can get someone still in the trade. I trust Dan Quinn with plugging in a defensive player in there. Now, Jordan Hicks, Vikings, but he was with the Eagles, if he sounds familiar. He's 31 years old. So, again, familiar with the NFC East. He played with the Eagles before, right? And he becomes a free agent after this year, which to me is the biggest selling point. You want a guy for now that's going to help at linebacker. We picked out Rashaan Evans, who's a practice squad guy currently. Remember that, guys.
Yep.
We talked a lot of good things about him as a leading tackler for the Falcons, so the Cowboys might be happy enough with him. We're still in the practice squad, so we got to keep an eye on that. But the point here is Jordan Hicks is a better, right now, starter, stopgap player for this season for a 1-year deal. That, again, we say, listen, we only going to use this guy for 10 games. That's the kind of guy the Cowboys get, a Hankins type. You get him for the last 10 weeks, we're good.
Honestly,
we trade away a 7th rounder.
That alone makes me want to run to Vegas and put money that he's going to be the guy we
Jordan
attempt
Hicks?
to make a move for. Now, do we actually get him is a separate story, but I do think the Cowboys will at least pick up the phone and make more serious inquiries.
Keep that in mind. Jordan Hicks, again, a possible tradable guy with 1 year. He's going to be gone from the Vikings next year. Mm-hmm. So the Vikings have no reason to keep him. So again, they're not going to re-sign him. So this is a trade. This is a situation where, again, you talk about Devonte Adams. If the Cowboys was able to sell off Michael Gallup, that could be a viable trade. We go up $6-7 million for the contract, but we're getting a better player in Devonte Adams. We still need to get that scheme fixed though at receiver, which now takes me to offense and wide receivers. There's a whole bunch of them that you can trade for right now. I see some people saying some names. What about some of these names? Wide receiver Terrence Marshall Jr. from the Panthers. A guy kind of on the up and coming there. I think you can make a low round trade for him. Darryl Mooney from the Bears, wide receiver. Marquise Brown from the Cardinals, not really being used there. Hunter Renfrow, who's fallen out of favor from the Vegas Raiders. A guy that can roll that, like that Beasley position in the slot. Jerry Jeudy, as you guys are mentioning there from the Broncos, I think we get him for much cheaper than you would have thought as a first-round draft pick. Cortland Sutton from the Broncos as well, formerly of TCU. I think he's TCU, isn't he? Where is he from? He's from Texas. So Cortland Sutton is a guy the Cowboys have loved from the beginning. So a lot of these receivers some of these guys can go in there like a Cortland Sutton and replace a Michael Gallup. Although we got Tolbert, so we're going to do that on offense. You got guys that can go into the slot and maybe be more slottish, like Hunter Renfrow. But we got Brandon Cooks. We got CD. Is that a move you make there? I don't know about that. Marquise Brown, also a smaller guy. Terrence Marshall, more of an outside guy. Again, Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. Each of these receivers I just listed here are rumored to be on the trade block. This ain't let's hope and pray we get this guy. It's like these guys are literally on the trade block. Everybody I'm listing is on the trade block. So right now, these guys I just mentioned could have a lot of different reasons why. Each of these guys for different reasons, but different reasons that fit the Cowboys. This is why they could be an upgrade for the Cowboys in these positions that I just discussed. Based on the compensation and future salary cap situations for all these receivers. Well, no, for the two Bronco receivers. Again, like the two guys everyone loves, Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton. I almost scratched them off this list. Why? Because of what they're going to ask for. Future salary cap requests. We're trading for their name and their future. We're not going to pay them for their future. So that's why I cross out Jeudy and Sutton. I think Hunter Renfrow is a steal if you want to get him for
any kind of
in a
trade
slot
the Cowboys
situation.
make here. They're not looking for a long-term partner. They're looking for a casual hookup. and that's just a reality. Like, we can have a little friends with benefits thing for a little while it works for both of us.
We don't want a long-term
relationship. I'm not committing to you long-term. It's good for right now, like summer fling, however you want to put it. The Cowboys are not looking to invest in a long-term situation, so, best to leave those types of players for the teams who are interested in that type of engagement and investment. But again, all those receivers, I feel like I'm going to say what you said earlier to kind of talk me back the other way. Any one of those guys is not as needed or as necessary, especially because if McCarthy runs the same old boring-ass offense, every single one of these guys is just going to become window dressing and as useless as nipples on a man.
Well, let me explain, because again, we have Tolbert, who the Cowboys would love to see him going there as an outside receiver, and if they had to replace Gallup, then that's their guy. I just want to say one thing about these other decent tradable pieces at receiver. They would all add something different to the Cowboy offense. For example, Terrence Marshall Jr., I keep an eye on him. If we can get him for a good deal, I like him. He's your prototypical outside receiver. Like, he can be, I don't say Des Bryant, but he's saying he's kind of like that flavor of player. Bigger, can go out there and high point it, can be an eventual replacement for, yes, Michael Gallup possibly. Now, little man there, Hunter Renfrow, slot guy, also a former Pro Bowler. And again, Marquise Brown, Darryl Mooney from the Bears, they are speed guys. They're field stretchers. We have Brandon Cooks. So again, look, possibly the Cowboys could inquire for the best deals on these 5-6 guys I mentioned, probably be a day 3 pick. Probably a 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th rounder. The last part of this discussion, I don't really have much about offensive linemen or anything like that, but I have more on tight ends. Now, the reason I mentioned tight ends is we got Luke Schoonmaker. He ain't doing shit maker. Nothing. So, again, Ferguson involved, but, is this also scheme related? If you can say about receiver, you can say about tight end.
I feel like, again, it's both. Always both. You cannot deny that scheme-wise, it feels like we moved away from our tight ends, whereas in the beginning of the season, we were definitely leaning more towards them. At the same time, the few opportunities that some of these guys have had have not gone the way that I think we expected. Am I right? I think I'm right.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. Just a little bit disappointed. Schoonmaker, let's be honest, we are trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I still think it's kind of early, but clearly between our offensive scheme and whatever Schoonmaker's got going on, it's not working. We're trying to fit a round peg in a square hole.
Yep. And Snug X, trying to go for the 11 in a row. He dropped a $10 holler. What did the man say?
Good night and go Cowboys.
Much love, Snug. Good night. And go Cowboys. The man leading the overall board, the man leading the Cash App board, going for not just 10, that X, he's going for 11. That Micah Parsons. Much love to Snug once again. And Stubby still 7 points left in that stream, boss. Skeptical, the champion and in the lead. The gifting side of things, Marco Sepian, 3 weeks in a row, the sponsor of the week. Will they go for 4? Will they go for the month? We shall see. Either way, appreciate everybody in the house. Hit the like, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. Follow us over on X at MyCowboysFamily, all the social media stuff, and Discord as well. So, go ahead.
I want to read two comments here real quick. So, Bruce got the Toxic Juice said it's not necessarily and either or when the Cowboys can add offense and defense. So basically, you don't have to choose only offense or only defense. You can add to both of them. I don't disagree, but I don't see the Cowboys doing that in a trade scenario. When it comes to trading, I do think it's a one-trick pony type of thing. We will trade for one player. After that, any additions to the team are going to be just good old-fashioned, just signings, pickups, whatever. And Tokyo said, I'd rather focus on trading to make our defense better over our offense with a receiver. Again, I'm with Tokyo because I think the bigger impact could be had on the defensive side.
I think the more immediate impact happens on the defensive side with a play. With a defensive
we're only
player.
talking for this year.
Yeah.
Any kind of long-term impact, I don't even give a shit about because I'm trying to win this.
You need the impact now. But anyways, here's the thing. I'm going to touch about tight end real quick, just so I can say this. The names here are going to sound very familiar. You're going to know these guys. Hunter Henry.
Okay.
We just saw him with the Patriots. I mean, he's a guy that definitely has it still. I've talked about him multiple times in previous years. It'd be a good.
Sure, he's feeling great in New England.
Well, it'd be a good tight end for the Cowboys, is what I always said. Good replacement for Schultz. Where's Cleveland Brown? He's about to come out of nowhere and start to attack me on that. Micah Gesicki, also from the Patriots. Both these guys are going to be. One of these guys are expendable from the Patriots. Trade block possibilities. So those are two guys. Again, it might be a little more costly. I don't know. But it also could be, gettable. And then
again, more costly is in
draft
compared
pick.
To the receivers.
No, more costly within let's say any other tight ends out there, because those are viable pieces, starters right now. We already have a starter in Ferguson, so you got old man Zach Ertz, who technically is their starter, although I would say not even their best tight end. The Cardinals, we saw him as well. So again.
Honestly, maybe that is what this team needs: an old, experienced,
proven tight end.
Maybe
Where's Jason Witten at?
Yeah, maybe he's on the other side of the hill, but he's still near the top.
All three of these guys would almost fit there. Again, a proven veteran, like one of these three guys before the deadline, could improve the production of the offense. It could help Mike McCarthy's little schemes and shit. Obviously, it helps Dak and getting another option.
Not the worst idea. I'm not gonna lie.
Hunter Henry and Zach Ertz have the most proven track records. When you compare all these three guys as all-around tight ends that can block and catch, they are better. Both of them are better than Gesicki, without question. But Gesicki is better because of his receiving ability, his athletic catching the ball.
So if the Cowboys feel like we're all good when it comes to the blocking side of things, why not get a tight end who's a little more on the catching side?
I mean, we got Schoonmaker. He fucking better be blocking because he ain't doing anything else. So Gesicki,
he's doing that well.
Gesicki, that is true. Gesicki, though. He's what he's been known for his career? Red zone. It's all about McCarthy though, scheming it right? The Cowboys may not be ready to give up what it would take to get any of these three guys though, right? Inquiry could be worth it. Now, here's my final statement on the trades, and maybe I want to know what you think, what the chat thinks, but I was thinking about this and seeing these trades. And I know we're doing this because a lot of people want us to talk about it. I know that we are, in the bye week, and it is close to the trade deadline. I'm sure we'll discuss this trade stuff a little more throughout this weekend, even next week until the trade deadline hits. But think about this is why the Cowboys will not do any trades. And again, you can use 2025 and 2026 and 2027 draft picks as well. It doesn't have to be all right now, but if a team wants a draft pick from this upcoming year in 2024, and we're trading for a depth player, that would only leave us with 5 draft picks in this year's draft. 5 picks. Which is the way this team, whether we like it or not, we agree or disagree, that's the way this Cowboy team loves to build their team. The organization, the front office, the clowns, that's the way they like to do this, whether we like it or not.
Having that few picks seems untenable.
Yeah. We have a first-round pick, second-round pick, a third-round pick, and then, again, guys, that's where it really drops up after that. That's the only real high-quality value we have. Now, look at this year's draft picks, right? Mozzie Smith hadn't done much, right? And then we have Schoonmaker. We already talked about nothing he's done, right? And of course, Overshown, who got injured, not going to do anything. Again, first picks, second pick, third pick, and you're seeing no production from these guys as of now, right? So that's what the Cowboys have to have trade value for a really top player, first, second, and third round pick. If you want to go for a guy that's for now, are you going to give up that much of a value pick for a guy for now if you're not going to keep him here for the long run? The Cowboys, again, should they even seek a trade with such little draft capital in 2024? Again, we can use 2025. But again, we used up 2 of our picks this year, and 2 of our 3 fifth-rounders are given away. Why? Brandon Cook, Stephon Gilmore.
And so, obviously, off the top of my head, I can't think of who could get us compensation picks.
Correct.
So that's like obviously the other factor there. But
the word is right now we probably get at best 2 more fifth-rounders. I don't think we have any fifth-rounders left, but we would have 2 fifth-rounders. So we'd be back up to 7 if we get those comp picks. But we still are going to be, again, that may be what the Cowboys want. Like, that might be what the Cowboys want to do. Stack up on the 4th and day 3 picks. 4th, 5th, 6th round guys. and then trade. We have currently a first, second, and third. So you can, if the Cowboys turn a new kind of page, they could make a move for now on one of these guys we discussed on the higher levels of guys. Or even the cornerback, like I said, if they want to draft one next year, we can use one of these. But again, Cowboys love using their draft picks. They love doing their scouting stuff that they do. You know it's going to be heavy. Isn't it this year heavy on offensive linemen, running backs? You know, these are the kind of players that Cowboys kind of love to, they're going to have to pick up probably this year, right after the season. I don't know about cornerbacks. My point is, the Cowboys love those picks almost way too much. It'd be tough for me to see the Cowboys make a blockbuster deal for all these reasons we're mentioning, and on top of the way that the front office is. Just can't help it, guys. I mean, it's usually the clown show. So again, what do you guys think? I want to know if we trade a pick.
I mean, we touched on most of the previous kind of trade comments and things like that, but Eric Black did throw out there, they better not give up Deuce. They best not give up Deuce.
Right now, I don't think anybody's going to trade for Deuce. That's the thing. I mean, right now, I don't think anybody would trade for Michael Gallup, mainly because of the salary he's getting paid. But
you want me to tell you the truth, Eric? If it's up to Mike McCarthy, Deuce is going to be a one-year wonder. Just throwing it out there. It's McCarthy needs to adjust some
how we
again
use him.
Little things about the way we use him. Like on paper, it should work. But there's a few little things that need to be tweaked if you actually want to see Deuce get any kind of success. And as of right now, he hasn't really
again,
gotten there.
Being put on the, he was held out of the last game as an inactive. I think Deuce, you got to wait a little longer to kind of see him maybe get more play in there. And that's two things. I think that's on him, but also McCarthy's usage of him and how he does
Now, you know what can't wait any longer?
Tell me. What?
Got to remind the people to hit the like button. One of the best, easiest, simplest ways to show the love for us here at MCF.
50 plus in the house.
Subscribe down below. Hit that notification bell. Follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily. And of course, hop in the Discord. The link for that's in the description box down below.
Yes, guys. Thank you all for joining us. We ain't done. Any last comments on the trading comments, or are we good? We caught up with everything pretty much.
Eric Blass said, we need another left tackle, someone equally, if not just as strong as Tyron. So again, when we're talking about trading away some of our top picks, how are we expecting to get quality offensive linemen if we're not willing to spend quality draft capital on them? And there's no way around it. We're picking an offensive lineman in the first or second round.
This year coming up, great running backs, also great linemen. And so the Cowboys not going to miss a chance to get another great offensive lineman. Expect a tackle to be drafted.
And again, Tokyo agrees 100% with me. He basically said, if we're going to trade, linebacker, corner,
go
end
for
of
that.
Discussion.
Well,
I mean, again, it's hard to bring up, I think, a case for an offensive player that would impact us as much as a defensive player. A lot of the guys you mentioned,
and most of it has to do with scheme. Most of those guys, unfortunately, has to do with the scheme from Mike McCarthy. But listen, no matter what it is, we're 4-2 right now in the bye week here. We're the bounce back Cowboys right now. The last 8 games that we've played, that we've lost, like the last 8 games we've lost, the bounce back game, the next week's game, we've won. We're basically we're 8-0 in our last 8 games after a loss. Goes to this game, of course, 2023. After the loss to the Niners, we beat the Chargers by 3. After the loss from the Cardinals earlier this year, beat the Patriots by 35 points. After that, then in 2022, at the end of the we'll just say at the end of the season, the Eagles, after our loss, I think it was to the Jacksonville Jaguars, we beat the Eagles by 6. And then we had a game earlier in that season when we beat the Vikings by 37 after a loss. We beat the Lions in 2022 by 18 after a loss. We beat the Bengals by 3 after that opening game loss to the Bucs. And then in 2021, at the Eagles, we won by 25 after a loss. And in 2021, after a loss, we beat the Saints by 10. So just trying to say, like, the last 8 losses, we've come back under Mike McCarthy. Got to give him credit. The last 3 years, we've come back and win every game after a loss. We've never gone back-to-back losses in almost 3 years. Pretty impressive there. Also, the Cowboys outscored teams. After, the team we play after a loss, we outscored those guys 260 to 123. We've demolished. We've taken our anger out on the following team we play on the following week after a loss. But what's the deal with McCarthy, baby? Because to me, That's really our biggest issue on offense. All right, is Mike McCarthy's kind of scheme and the way he does things. And here, you guys want to hear? Listen, I know you guys get tired of maybe me saying, we need to do this, we need to do that. How about we talk about where the Cowboys need to fix their shit? All right, and you see it in our discussion in our topic section. You're seeing the motion portion of things. Baby, have I not brought this up so much?
Oh, yeah.
About motioning during the snap. Listen to this, guys. Week 6, all right? This is sorted by the rate of motion at the snap, all right? There's a column. The first column is how much did the Cowboys run motion while a guy in motion, right? Running. Remember that touchdown by Dak Prescott? Like that, when we had CeeDee Lamb in motion. What about that other touchdown we had later on in the game? Another motion play. Touchdown. While we were snapping the ball, the guy is running across the field. The Cowboys did that 8.1% of Week 6. Last place in the entire NFL. Worst in the NFL of doing this. It's just embarrassing. The Dolphins, dominant offense. You know how often they do the snap? They do motion while they're snapping the ball 62.2% of the time. Everything's about speed, flying around. That is the key to these offenses to utilize the skill sets they have. McCarthy is not doing that at all with guys like CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks that have that speed. You got Turpin, you can use Deuce in some of this shit. Just saying, it's like the Cowboys don't use that motion, that speed that we have on this offense. Turpin, I think I'm making Turpin ready. This is the shit I'm talking about when it comes to McCarthy, making his team better in the red zone, making his team better on a little more attacking, aggressive offense. Use fucking motion. Trust me. As I've been saying here for years, it works. The best 2 blocked runs of this game, not just off passes you want to do motion. The best 2 blocked runs of the game came off of fucking motion while you're snapping the ball. Pre-snap motion and snapping the ball, you are playing to your players' strengths, their speed. That's what I'm trying to say, McCarthy. Why are you playing? Bill Walsh, 1985 fucking West Coast offense. You got to get the motion going. 8.1% when we snap that ball in motion, that is not going to fucking cut it. That's partially why we didn't win by more in this game. And by the way, we're not very good either when it comes to, basically you go in, you're snapping the ball when the motion comes and then they set. It's almost like it's not a shift. Shift that stays on the same side. You just move from one part, from the outside receiver to the inside receiver. That's a shift. Motion, you got to go across the actual offensive line. We've done that a lot more. We do that 42% of the time last week. But then we don't snap the ball while these guys are in motion. They get set and then we snap the ball. It's all right. But you don't help your offense. You don't use your skill of your players if you're not doing it while they're in motion more. I'm not saying every play. I'm not even saying 62% like the Dolphins do. Give me a little bit of, 30%, something, not 8. That's on you, McCarthy. That's on no one else but Mike motherfucking McCarthy. Am I wrong? I think I'm right on that one. I mean,
I'll give you the point.
It's not on the guy running the freaking motion. It's not on the freaking running back or the quarterback. It's on Mike motherfucking McCarthy. So on top of that, McCarthy, this is maybe a little beating for him here, but the endless supplies of penalties that get dropped on this team, McCarthy has to be the one held responsible for that. Multiple instances.
Penalties are almost like, look, we said this back in the Garrett era, and we're going to stay consistent when it comes to this. Penalties of a specific kind are absolutely on the coaches, because that comes down to a discipline issue, right? And it's one thing to see, again, the occasional penalty or whatever, but what in the actual fuck is going on? The Cowboys have pretty much like 85% of all the offside penalties in the NFL.
But it's not even offsides is horrible, right? But it's also other stuff like multiple instances with 12 men on the field.
Yep.
That's not just that's
not
coaching.
Just players messing up.
That's the player might not have been ready one time. That could happen. But the coach is not having these players ready is the problem.
Yeah, don't we have like 2 at least? 12 men on the field?
Last game we had 2, I think. Burning a second half timeout, not once but twice. Yeah. Management issues. That's not player. Penalties is not all on players. Multiple instances of 12 guys on the field, not all on players.
We've already talked about the time clock management. And the clock management.
Yes.
Time clock.
Again, the halftime management, horrible. This is not on the players. This is on the coaches. The tail between the legs clock management at the end of the first half was embarrassing to me. That's not maximizing your players at all.
We talk about consistency when it comes to the players, but McCarthy shows inconsistency when one time he's like, no, I believe in this team. We're going to go for it on every fourth down. And then in the same breath on the next game, you're scared of your own shadow. You barely want to run a third down play.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
It's just not great.
It's another example of poor coaching by Mike McCarthy. I hate to say it. I don't care if we fucking won by 20. I see poor coaching.
Where's Cat 52? To hear this
I know. I see and hear poor coaching. I'm not just going to jump on the guy. It's obvious that's the root of our problem. It's not Dak. It's not the defense. When it comes to managing this team, that's really a major part of this team's issues that we just can't seem to get fixed. I don't know why. Again, honest question here about the analytics crew. You know how much I love this new crew of analytics people, but is McCarthy listening to them? Do they help during the game? We see him in the booth there with Dan Quinn and others.
If the answer is yes, then they all need to be fired. And if the answer is no, then why the fuck did McCarthy bring him in here in the first place?
But I know listen, all I know is this. I've seen some of them working with McCarthy in the booth. Maybe they're talking to Schottenheimer and not McCarthy, but with Dan Quinn in the booth. Maybe they talk to McCarthy and Schottenheimer down below. But here's the thing that's crazy. This was Schottenheimer's first game on the sideline. Let me not say that. Let me rephrase that. It felt like it was his first game on the sideline because if I'm correct, and you guys have mentioned it in the past, he's the one responsible for the time on the clock. He's the one responsible. Last time we had an issue like this, it was in the same stadium against the same team a couple years ago.
Really?
We couldn't see the clock because of where it's placed. So someone's fucking...
So part of the reason that some of this happened is because...
The way the clocks are. Yeah, we had a problem a couple years ago with the Chargers when we beat them by 3. Same exact score, by the way, 20-17, with Zerline kicking like a 60-yarder. We got that game because, we made some bad mistakes there in management because of, again, McCarthy said, the way the clocks are placed in SoFi Stadium. So who knows? But either way, maybe it's an explanation. I don't know. My thing is this. Schottenheimer's out of the booth. Schottenheimer's job is to get this. And Schottenheimer, mainly him and McCarthy, I'm just saying, I'm going to put it on both of them, mismanaged that end of the half. Bullshit. That was just embarrassing. By the way.
Cactus G, sorry, I do have to interrupt you. He said McCarthy was coaching scared. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it live before.
We've seen it now.
And that's my point. And let's be real here. It's not like our offense was sucking so bad to the point where McCarthy should have been playing scared. Does that make sense?
Right. It wasn't like we were showing mistakes when we attacked. We were actually doing... Watch the game. When Dak was able to attack a play down the field for longer than 3 yards, we looked like a better offense.
So, I don't know. To me, and obviously, look, I will be the first to admit I'm obviously not a head coach, and I do not know all the intricacies of football or all the factors that go into it. But McCarthy has been our head coach long enough that we've been able to spot some of his tendencies. And obviously he's a long, illustriously careered coach. So there's other things that he's bringing from that too. And between that, our front office, our current roster, it's like all of it is coming together. And we're all feeling a little disappointed because, well, we definitely have enough going on to look better than we currently do. I think that's a good baseline fact.
The Cowboys... We talked about the draft picks and trading for this, but the Cowboys. I wish Marco Seppian was here. He'll probably watch it on a replay. But we talked about the big mistake by McCarthy, and that's the tight end in the second round. Luke Schoonmaker. We had Osiris Torrance right there, who's picked up, by the way, by the Bills right after we picked.
It's gonna be some TJ Watt, the one that got away shit for the rest of our.
I don't know if it's gonna be as big of a deal as that, but I do think that this is a McCarthy pick of Schoonmaker. How is Osiris Torrance doing right now? Formerly the Gators, now with the Bills, starting right guard. Started all 6 games for the Bills at right guard. He's had a quiet start to 2023. And you know what? When it's an offensive lineman, guess what that means?
A great thing.
It's a great thing. Guys, Osiris Torrance, unfortunately for us, is playing great. And we had him right there for us. At 6, he started all 6 games at right guard. Most snaps played on the entire Bills offense so far this year. He's basically an Iron Man. He hasn't missed a snap. He's allowed how many sacks? 0 sacks at right guard. He's had some real nice one-on-one blocks in the run game showing out there. And he's growing throughout this season already. You can see him. So, again, the Cowboys, I think, even though we hit on Tyler Smith, The year before that, we missed on Osiris Torrance. This year, especially as of right now, 6 games in, Luke Schoonmaker has 1 catch. He has 6 targets, 1 catch for 1 yard and a touchdown, and he has 2 drops. Schoonmaker blocking well, though, I will say, so maybe that's where he's good at, right? That's his skill, is blocking. But then Osiris Torrance, he's a true right guard, a true, future guy. Again, maybe the draft coming up, the Cowboys focus on maybe drafting a starter in this upcoming draft, where there's a lot of good offensive linemen as well. Maybe that's what it is. Either way, I just want to throw out there, sorry, Mike McCarthy, but all MM's issues. He did have one conversation piece, though, baby, about our starting quarterback, Rain Dakota Prescott. Now, McCarthy really has to give a lot of credit to Dak Prescott. He's never seen a quarterback handle what he's handled under the bright lights of the star. And why do I say that? Because McCarthy has had Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre and all these guys under his tutelage, under his wing, and seeing the kind of all-stars they are. And the critiques and all the lights on them when they're playing good, bad, or ugly.
Acknowledging that things are different for the Cowboys.
He was on Mad Dog Radio today, Coach Mike McCarthy, and he spoke very interesting, but really the best thing you can hear, a really honest kind of commentary from Mike McCarthy about what Dak is going through, how Dak is as a Cowboys quarterback, what his thoughts are, baby. Break it down for me. What did Mike McCarthy say about Dak Prescott on the Mad Dog Russo radio show?
I love Dak Prescott as our quarterback. I think the way he's built all the way through, obviously his physical skill set is excellent. But what he endures mentally and emotionally compared to the other 31 QBs is unique. Speaking on experience of being around great quarterbacks, Joe Montana, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, etc., I've never seen a quarterback under a microscope like he is. Just his consistency, his personality, his work ethic, and how he handles all that and navigates all that, and he goes out and performs every week. I think it's special what he has to endure. I think the intensity of the microscope on Dak, I've never seen anything like it. For him to be as consistent, his attitude is very much the same every day as far as how he attacks the preparation part of it. You have to be unique to deal with that. And this is year 8 for him, so he's been dealing with this a long time here. The intensity is nothing like I've ever seen.
So even when you're looking at the great Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre, never any kind of intensity in the spotlight when it's on the Dallas Cowboy quarterback one. QB1. That's Dak Prescott, and he's never seen a quarterback have to deal with this much shit. Even in his days with some of the greatest quarterbacks we had in the NFL. And all the things all the scrutiny they were under.
Yeah, and I find it interesting that he didn't even mention any kind of specific thing or shenanigan or situation or scenario or anything. He's just kind of Dak has been taking some shit, man. He didn't get specific on what kind of shit he's been taking. He just kind of
just the spotlight.
Just the implication of the all-around generalized shit.
The fact that the spotlight is always on Dak Prescott, the quarterback of the Cowboys. It's bigger than Joe Montana. It's bigger than Aaron Rodgers. It's bigger than Brett Favre.
Yeah, all of those guys had a little bit of breathing room to make
but they had
small
they
mistakes.
were superstars on a big stage, and they still didn't have the kind of big stage, lights, camera, action that Dak has on them.
I mean, no offense. Can I be the person to say it?
Say it.
When you are a superstar, when you are a Joe Montana, you can handle that. It's fine. But let's be honest, Dak Prescott never has and never will be a Joe Montana and Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre.
Not in the skill set side,
He has always been an underdog in his situation in that he's above average.
Yeah, top 10 to 12.
We said it before. You can't
worst.
really include him in one of those elites.
Right.
Depending on who you ask, you might not even include him in some of those greats.
And you know what? The fact that Dak's never won a Super Bowl, the other 3 guys did. That's another reason why he will get scrutinized, a lot more as a Cowboy quarterback and not winning a Super Bowl yet. And we're on 28 years, and that is not all on Dak. Obviously, it's a lot of it on a lot of other people. Dak just happened to be our quarterback.
I still also feel like, unfortunately, the last few years of NFL Super Bowl winners have done Dak no favors because we saw shitty QBs win. Just straight up.
Yeah.
Shitty quarterbacks. Quarterbacks worse than Dak then and worse than Dak now. They got hardware. They got rings.
And unfortunately also, you had Tom Brady, taking most of the Super Bowls.
I know. I'm not even talking about him, okay? I'm not talking about the good ones.
I know.
The Mahomes and Brady, we all know. We know. We don't care.
And Mannings, and but then Eli winning a couple. I guess he's got to be considered
Eli didn't win while Dak was in the league.
No, true. I was just talking about the recent quarterbacks. Big Ben.
I was just trying to remember the ones while Dak was in the league again. Hell, Carson Wentz and
Nick Foles.
Big Nick. Oh, sorry, I forgot his last name for a second.
Nick Foles.
But I remember the other part, unfortunately. Oh, anyway, let me take a quick second here, though, before I hit up the chat for one or two more comments and hand it off to you, baby. As we get close to the end of tonight's stream, take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us anywhere and everywhere at MyCowboysFamily. Hop in the Discord, links down below. Extra special shout out to the sponsor of the weeks. 3 weeks in a row, Mark Hovsepian.
Yeah.
Much love to you. Stubby1085, repping it Trayvon
Still
style.
holding on.
I can't believe it. But yes, somehow
7
still
points.
the stream boss tonight.
Stubby hanging on. Much love to Stub.
And of course, much love to Snug. X in the cash app.
Yes. Stubby, Snug. Much love in the house.
Motor City Maniac, Tyrone Church,
Hey, what's up, bro?
Fuegos, Modius, Raymond Solis. Much love to all of you.
Motor.
So real quick, Fuegos comment. Keywords, consistency, accuracy, motivation, dedication, speed, and teamwork. So Pioneer also said, credit to McCarthy for defending Dak's character, but he didn't defend his play on the field.
Yeah, again, he is defending what he has to take, but he's not defending... Right. Well, I don't think you have to defend Dak's play on the field.
I think it implied it just because obviously every sport is a very big mental game when you're talking about playing it at a professional level. So I think he's just trying to say the fact that he's been able to kind of be the quarterback and hang at that level, taking that amount of shit, you know?
Yeah. Along with any bad play, he has bad days. He has to explain even more shit, right? When it's Dak Prescott with wearing that star on your helmet.
So, and Tokyo and Fuego... and backing up the comment, basically just saying, Dak, just throw the ball away. Like, that is going to fix, 50% of your problems.
Dak, throw the ball away, you're getting tackled and you don't run out of bounds and lose 3 yards, that kind of shit.
Dak reminds him of John Elway, but he's got to scramble.
Yeah, John Elway had a great quarterback. I don't think Dak's as good as Elway, but Elway was always his top quarterback that could never win it, like Dan Marino, and finally won it towards the end of his career. Won back-to-back, actually, for Elway. You might see that story for Dak in the future. We don't know yet, but the scheme has to be better, and the scheme Dak's partially involved with, right? Making this scheme, that's a big part of Dak's fault, I think, is more like his involvement on the scheme, on the actual scheme that McCarthy has helped kind of create for him. So anyways, look, when it comes to Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy, Dak is rescuing the offense as much as you can. I believe if without Dak, we are... you have Cooper Rush, Trey Lance. We are 2-4. Easy, maybe worse. So right now, this offense has big problems, not just with Mike McCarthy's play calling and his quick passing, constant quick passing, and ultra safe and conservative offense. On top of that, there's problems in the run game too. The way the Cowboys are running. Again, I understand the Cowboys maybe in this game against the Chargers wanting to run off left and right. I've been saying left tackle. I mean, just because they're weak on their side, on their right side, the Chargers. So run left outside, run right outside. That is their weakest points of run stop. Yet, Cowboys kept running inside, always B gap. A lot of times I think the Cowboys are trying to establish something. Keep running inside and then bounce them outside as the game gets later in the game and attack their weaknesses when they're a little more tired or focusing on the inside run. That may be in the plan, but it's not what the fucking Cowboys did. It's not what McCarthy did, and we have to rely on an upscaled, up-tempo, up-the-field attacking a more aggressive offense, which I don't mind throughout a game. Not constantly like Kellen Moore, but also not ultra-conservative, which like Mike McCarthy right now. So, I mean, even with a very conservative offense, we still moving down the field, guys. That's what's crazy about this. That's why I'm saying Dak's kind of saving McCarthy's ass right now. Also, Dak running the ball, he set his personal top 2, and he's not looking fast out. I'm going to be real. I think Dak lost a step, but he set his personal top 2 speed marks, but not of his career, just of the season. That's why he's definitely not as fast as he used to be. But again, back-to-back runs on Monday Night Football, that's where he put up his best 2 marks of the year as far as speed is concerned. He had that 18-yard touchdown. He scrambled. Again, that was a little RPO type play there. That scramble saw him reach 18.06 miles per hour. And then the next play on the next drive, First down, he had an 11-yard scramble. He ran out to the left side, got out of a sack, scrambled to the left, and ran for 11 yards. He got up to 18.65. So he was feeling himself then. He was going real fast. Speedy Gonzalez style there. 18 mile per hour plus runs back to back. So good for Dak. At least he's feeling the speed coming back a little bit more. Keep that in your head, Dak. Use those legs and get those yards. I don't care. The big plays will come if you use your legs in that. We don't try to run over anybody. How long have I been saying get them outside, run them, and then no options? You run the ball for 5, 6, 3, whatever. But you run out of bounds, you get safe, and you sometimes run for bigger yards. And we saw that a lot with Dak. And really extending the play also helps the Dak Prescott style. His strength of his skill of quarterbacking is, getting him moving around. I think Dak's usually very good that way. In fact, I said he would score. I said, watch Dak lead us down and get a field goal here before the half.
You called it.
Exactly what the Cowboys did. They pussied out at the end. Could have been more, and that was on Mike McCarthy. But Dak Prescott, when you got him in up-tempo, kind of quick-moving situations, Dak is dominant, I dare say. So, now, I'm not here kissing Dak's ass. He had to me, still not a great game, even if the analytics do say it's great. He missed a possible, definitely 2, possibly 3 touchdowns. And then the fourth one was dropped by Michael Gallup. So that's 4 touchdowns on the board. 1 by Gallup, the other 3 from Dak left out there. He did earn those back, some of those touchdowns back, those points. But we left like 10 on the board on Dak's arm. So, look, I know he's going to miss some passes. You can't miss those touchdowns. You got to help your guys. You got to bring that ball a little lower for Michael Gallup to get that touchdown. Ferguson is open down the seam. You saw the other touchdown of Pollard. You got to make these guys, you got to get the ball in their hands.
We've said it before, and more on the defense than the offense this season, but you count on big players to make big plays during big moments. And in a big moment here, we're counting on Dak to get that touchdown. Like
Correct.
you said, he failed at that 3 out of the 4 attempts
right.
in that situation.
And the fourth one, Gallup has to help your quarterback, right? Yeah. He has to make the catch, right?
Exactly.
So Dak gets blamed for 3 of those. He had those guys wide open. He missed them. And he also gets blamed. And of course, I blame him. Last week he missed CeeDee Lamb on 3 plays. That happens, but you can't miss the big plays. And Dak missed 3 of them, I think. He also, of course, not blamed for the beautiful pass he threw at Michael Gallup, and Michael Gallup couldn't help his quarterback. So we got to get these guys, got to help each other better. Dak's got to get better there. Gallup's got to catch the fucking ball. Plain and simple, that's what we got there. But, specifically, it's not just, I'm criticizing Dak to criticize him. Dak needs to actually improve a little bit more the back end of his drops when he drops back to pass. When he gets to the end of his drop, what he usually does, and you've seen this for years. He goes back, goes from under center or gets the ball, sits for a second, and usually starts to drift to the left. Or drift to the right. He gets himself out of the pocket before he has to get out of the pocket. And again, he drifts to the side of where he's going to, not only that, why does he go left or right? Because that's the side of his first read. So you're wondering, why is he drifting right? Because that first read with his eyes, the first read on the field is to the right.
It's to the right? Okay.
And when you see him drifting, in that play, he did run for 11 yards getting out of the sack, but he drifted to the left because his first read was to the left. So these are the things Dak has to get better at when he gets to the end of his drop. When he goes back, boom, sets for a second, in the pocket. Watch where he drifts. That's where the defense can figure out where he will go with the ball initially. So, again, that stuff there, all right? Align with his initial target, and staying in the middle of the pocket is where he needs to kind of stay inside of the pocket better. That first sack he got, you saw him go down against the Chargers.
Yeah.
He got out of the other one. I told you he ran for 11 yards, but that first sack he experienced against the Chargers, he exactly just drifted right into the sack, and not only drifting into him, but you can see him looking to that side where he drifted. I think it was left, where he was looking for his first read, which again. Bad move by Dak. That's where Dak. See, I go after McCarthy and I go after Dak equally. When they fuck up, I'm going to be fair about this. Good. I'm not going to be a rah guy for the player, for the coach. Even if I like him, I don't give a shit. I'm being real. Now, CeeDee Lamb. When you look at CeeDee Lamb's situation, guys, and again, what a game he had with seven catches, 100+ yards. He had 12.3 air yards per target. And that means Dak's attacking down the field. I got to give credit to McCarthy. We're attacking farther down the field. We're going over 10 yards. We're going 12.3 yards every time we attacked CeeDee Lamb down the field. That's beautiful. I mean, overall with CeeDee Lamb, we got 12.3, but that means we're attacking mostly past that first down marker almost every single time.
You can't deny that some tiny bit of progress was made offensively in some ways, right? Just throwing that out there. But obviously we still have other things to fix and a way to go. So
yeah, I mean, look, that's the thing you have to look at. CeeDee Lamb right now is not only is he getting the air yards and the per target, but also 3.6 average yards of separation. Fantastic by CeeDee Lamb, because you're seeing him get really away from his coverage, away from the defensive back who's covering him. So that right there tells me that CeeDee Lamb is, beyond the number one guy right now. He is, just got to be targeted, got to be, again, targeted not just by Dak looking at him, but McCarthy has to run and get him open. You guys know Madden. When you see
Dak can look at him all he wants. If McCarthy is not scheming CeeDee Lamb in a way where Dak can actually throw to the guy, that we're expecting CeeDee Lamb to go out there, fists flying, and basically create separation, create plays, create his own routes. Like what I'm just saying, there's only so much CeeDee Lamb can do. You have to help him.
And the thing is this, when it comes to, targeting CeeDee Lamb and that kind of stuff, think about on your Madden game, when you see that little red line of the routes of receivers, that's your primary guy. You're trying to, plays being created for that player to get open. And that's what the Cowboys and McCarthy got to do more with CeeDee Lamb and down the field more, which is what we saw a little bit more against the Chargers. I liked that part of things. Now, speaking of the Chargers, we're kind of flipping this over to the other side of the ball here as we're finishing up for tonight, guys. And yes, we're at the end of the show. But first, let me go past the tight ends part. Past the receivers, tight ends, and go to the quarterback. Still looking at even Dak Prescott to some extent. But Justin Herbert, let's look at him in the defense, because Herbert has had 13 career interceptions in the fourth quarter of one-score games. Herbert. That's a guy getting paid a lot more than Dak Prescott per year. That's the most interceptions thrown with the game on the line by anyone since he entered the NFL in 2020. In Justin Herbert. So Herbert getting all that money, it's crazy because there's still 5 more interceptions in the fourth quarter or overtime, one-score games. It's 5 more than the next quarterback on the list, which tells you Herbert can talk about, can't get, people criticize Dak for not getting it done at the end of games. My goodness, please. He has 20 comebacks. That's the fucking second most since he got in the league for Dak Prescott. But when it comes to when you need the big play in the fourth quarter in a one-score game, Herbert, 13 career interceptions, 5 more than the next guy since he entered the league in 2020. That is
now
insane,
we know why
right?
they wanted Kellen Moore in there so bad. They just wanted to continue the streak.
Yeah, they want to continue the interception, the desperate interception streak there when you need it the most. And also, a little sample size here when you flip it over to our defense. And I know he didn't play, but Wanye Thomas, sample size very small. He had 90 total snaps so far this year. But Wanye Thomas is PFF's fifth highest graded safety in the NFL. Small sample size.
It is a small sample size, but we all here, we watched our Cowboy games, which I know we have, we've all seen him play really well. And part of that is because of the limited amount of snaps he's been getting, but, it's impactful.
Fifth highest graded safety. Listen, he has 2 pass breakups, targeted only 3 times and 90 snaps. Means he's got his guy covered. But the bigger thing is this, and you think of it like this, baby. We have Wanye Thomas playing safety so well, then what about our other safeties? Who's going to go down there and play safety? Because again, we didn't have, we have our 3 starters still: Donovan Wilson, J-Ron Curse, Malik Hooker. But what about Marquise Bell? Marquise Bell, who actually started as a safety, now he's playing linebacker. Like I said the other day, he's the 6th highest graded linebacker in the NFL. So right now, the Wanye Thomas, small sample size, 5th highest graded safety, and Marquise Bell, the 6th highest graded linebacker in the NFL. These are some major numbers from big step-up guys as undrafted. Both these guys were undrafted last year. So interesting there. I just want to bring up both these. I would say low level. They're not. They're undrafted guys that are starting for this team in a big way. And I say starting, producing for this team in a huge way. Now you look at our defense and our highest graded players, offense and defense. We talked about the offense already, but after 6 games, our 5 highest graded guys, 4 of them are defense. 5th is Tyler Smith on offense, 84.2. I just talked about Wanye Thomas, 87.4 grade. He's the 4th highest graded guy in our team. Osa Odigizua, guys. Oh, yeah, Osa.
I mean, he has been having a pretty solid
Osa
season.
is incredible right now. Let me explain. 89.7 is his grade, a hair away, a cunt hair away from elite numbers there for Osa Odigizua for the season. And listen, he was asked, Osa, before he left today, or left for the bye week, he was asked, he's going to be, he already said he's going to be doing a lot of work going into this bye week. He asked Aiden Dirty, the defensive line coach, Adam Dirty, the defensive line coach for the Cowboys, the British guy, to make a tape of his first 6 games so far this year. Number 97 he said he wants to dissect his play, and he wants to see what he can take to the next level. It reminds me of Micah Parsons in his rookie year. In one week, he went, I'm going to change shit up, and he did, and he went to another level. Micah started getting in there the early, even before Dak. He started doing everything. Osa,
I love the fact that the players are like, so many of our players are kind of taking more personal responsibility and kind of taking it upon themselves to like personally improve.
I agree.
So again, are we seeing the results we maybe want to see? Not necessarily, but I kind of mentioned to Mr. MCF, it does feel like this team at least is serious.
Okay,
right?
I agree.
They are busting their ass and working hard. Like, we don't hear about slackers on our team currently, right? Like, not like when Lyle Collins was out there basically loafing about in the field.
Yeah.
So,
well,
just saying like that, like it or not, that's a positive culture change.
I think you got to remember, to me, Osa is kind of a similar upgrade every year, like Biotish. Biotish is a year in front of him. But Osa, here's the thing. He wants to dissect his plays. He wants to take his game to another level after the bye week. And just to give you guys an idea, he's already devastating for the Cowboys in our defense. He's not classified as Mark Hosepian scary, like in the sense that we want to get at others. But Osa's starting to turn into a top interior defensive tackle.
Don't fall for the okie doke, guys.
No,
you don't need flashy stats to be a good player, although we like the flashy stats too.
He'll get the stats that come with it if he continues doing what he's doing. And currently, we talked about Marquise Bell, 6th best linebacker. Wanye Thomas, the 5th best safety by the PFF rankings. Osa is the 6th best interior defensive lineman, according to the rankings. He is number 6. I'm talking about like Aaron Donald, and some other guys on the side. And 6th is Osa Odigizua right now, this year, when it comes to the PFF grade. And why is he getting this grade? Because he has 18 pressures. Of an interior defensive lineman is a lot harder than a pass rusher on the outside. He has 18 pressures, 11 stops in the run game, and an 18.5% pass rush win rate. That right there, he's always causing and wrecking havoc, causing issues in the backfield, run or pass. Osa has taken a huge step, I think. We talked about it all offseason. This could be the year for him, taking a big step forward in his 3rd year right now as far as his snap-to-snap consistency. That's the bigger thing. He had these flashes, but they were far and few between. They were spread apart by 20 plays of Now he's going back to back to back to back to back. Consistent, powerful, sometimes better than others, but consistent. At a certain level, he's not going below that level now. He's pushed it up. The average is now above average for him, and that consistency is key for Osa Odigizua. Maintaining impact plays that he was, you show these flashes, right? He's maintained these impactful, flashing plays that he had in his first couple years. Now you're seeing the consistency and the flashing plays. That is big for Osa, in my opinion, going forward. Now, he wasn't the only guy on this list. Micah Parsons also on this list with a 91.0 as a defensive player. And who was number 1 on our team? Our number 1 graded player, DeMarcus Lawrence. 91.9 for him. So, again, you've seen the layout there. I'm going to touch on Micah Parsons here 1 minute. But first, we talked about the interior. Don't forget Jonathan Hankins. Talk about not seeing stats. Like, you used to get some stats from someone like from Osa. But Hankins, you don't get no stats, but it's okay. He's making a big difference, guys. He's never going to get a lot of box score stats or anything like this. You're not going to see him with 2 sacks and 16 tackles, all right? But it's about the way he understands on how to defend the run. Again, aside from Arizona Cardinals, aside from the Cardinal game, the other running backs, again, that was James Conner, kind of kicked our ass. Yards per carry, he kicked our ass. But Eckler, 1.9 yards per carry against the run defense when Hankins was in the game. CMC, Christian McCaffrey, 2.7 yards per carry against us. Zeke, their leading guy, 2.7 yards per carry Breece Hall, 2.3 yards per carry. Dalvin Cook, 1.8 yards per carry. Barkley, who had the most on us, 4.3 yards per carry. And again, James Conner had 5+ yards, so that was disgusting. But for the most part, you see Jonathan Hankins dominating as an interior run stopper, not to stop the run, but to help the other guys stop the run, like Osa, like the linebackers, like Marquise Bell did a great job filling in there for LV, and LV trying to do whatever he could before that. But Marquise Bell, Damone Clark, good games there at linebacker because of guys like Jonathan Hankins. But go back to Micah, the final thing I'm going to say tonight as we get out of here. So leave your last comments, hit your last likes, make sure you subscribe. But Micah Parsons, guys, who's the second best graded guy on our team, right behind, not 9/10 of a point behind DeMarcus Lawrence. Micah Parsons generated 6 of his 7 pressures against the Chargers on Monday night, specifically against their right tackle, Trey Pipkins. Why is this a big deal? Because your boy here, MCF, been telling you guys that we should have been attacking that side the entire week. We should have been practicing for that. I see Micah Parsons used rarely over there. Like I said, he had 6 pressures coming against Trey Pipkins. He matched up against him 28 times, which I think he matched up against Rashawn Slater. I think a lot more times. I think he had, again, how many times did he go up against Rashawn Slater? I think he went up a bunch of times, I will say. The Cowboys had put Parsons on Rashawn Slater a lot. He only had 1 pressure against Rashawn Slater's side of things. But, again, the sack that Micah got at the end of the game, that was also against Trey Pipkins. So I think the Cowboys, again, only 28 matchups against Pipkins. The rest were moved around, but also against Rashawn Slater. I think the Rashawn Slater idea when we went against Trent Williams last week, that was a bad move. I know Micah can beat Trent Williams and Rashawn Slater a couple of times, but it's not worth it. It's not worth what you're giving up when you're not rushing him from the other side of things. And when the weaker offensive lineman, when you're rushing from that side, you can break down the pocket faster, even if you are having to nullify DeMarcus Lawrence on the other side, right? Or Sam Williams or Fowler. But Micah is the king of pass rushers, and he should be going against the weaker piece to, pick at the wound. So Dan Quinn, pushing Micah to go at the stronger side. When you go against the weaker side, you create more havoc. And that's what the Cowboys at least started to do against the Chargers and Trey Pipkins on the right side, the right tackle. Micah Parsons is now rushing from the left side of our line on their right side. That's where we created the most issues. He had 6 of his 7 pressures from that side. So come on, Quinn, don't get cute. Doesn't take too much to figure this out. Make sure you bring Micah all around, of course, even against their best guys. But make sure not only do you have him moving around, even at linebacker, we know he's going to go back to linebacker a little bit more. Even more than he did in this game, I think. But when you have him in there and you have him, coming from all different angles, when you're going to rush the most, try to kind of keep upping those numbers. 28 times against Pipkins, their weak side. Let's bump that up to maybe 32 times, 35 times against their weaker offensive linemen. Maybe that gives Micah a little more ability. He gets worked harder against the best guys, so that's going to make him a little weaker, right? All throughout a game and tiring him out quicker. If you use him against the worst of the 2 edges, of the 2 tackles, that will be a way of kind of having Micah always have the upper hand and always controlling the offense. Just an idea. Just a last-second idea I'm just kind of calling out here. Hopefully Quinn sees it. Maybe he's waiting to not unleash that until later in the season. I don't know. Either way, that's my 2 cents on that side of things, guys. I don't know. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe let's get the last couple of comments. You did the shout-outs already to everybody here as far as the boards are concerned. I am going to give this extra special shout-outs to those who dropped the love from above tonight. Calvin Richard. Let me be clear. Calvin Richard, who's up at the top of that board there with Skeptical Fan, who also gifted a membership here. Much love. He got Rolando Rodriguez for getting that membership. And then, you know why he's here, baby. SnugX, the leader, 10 weeks in a row. The champion, 10 weeks, Cash App King. He's going for 11 on it. He's in the lead as well there. And he's in the lead on the overall board, trying to come for that 3-peat from our sponsor of the week, Mark Hovsepian. Stubby holding it down still, baby, with 7 points on the stream, boss. And our gifting champion, like I just said, Skeptical Fan, trying to go for that repeat, like our 90s Cowboys, the back-to-back. He's currently in a field goal on the board for him, 3 gifted memberships. Justin D got 1 on it right now. So we'll see what happens, guys. That's it from my side. I know, baby, you got a couple last things to say as far as the shout-outs and maybe a comment or two from the people in the house as we get ready to clock out of here for the night.
Fuego 2.0 said, although Gallup has had 24 yards against the Chargers, he'll be getting at least 90 to 100 plus yards against the Eagles. It's a must.
Again, it will be a must if you want to see us pull away and maybe control that game against the Eagles. You need Michael Gallup to produce.
Let me see. I almost shouted myself out. Okay. Oh, Asmodeus, much love. Shout out to you as well. Thomas Garrett, the superior Garrett. By the way, everyone pretty much agreed. Osa's kicking ass.
Yes, he is. He is. And we are very happy to see that.
So take it easy, Eric Black. Again, much love to you.
Much love, Eric OG.
Pioneer said, we barely beat the worst secondary in football. Like, just kind of adding to some of your comments about some of those points where people were trying to say the Chargers were more than what they were.
Yeah, I mean, that was my point. On offense, they really overblasted, I think, their offense, because we know the Kellen Moore offense is a lot of filler. So we know it's not really a dominant offense. While their defensive passing, we didn't even attack them. We never attacked the secondary. We could have done a lot more if we would have had a game plan that attacked more. McCarthy's trying to get there, I think.
Shout out to Tyrone Church as well, saying Gallup's got to catch.
Yes, he had to make that catch. Yes, much love to Tyrone Church in the house.
Cactus G in the place to be. We've needed what Dak did in the game before. He'll do it again, and he didn't do it, and we'll need it again.
He'll do it. I told you guys, give Dak one every 4 or 5 games. You put the game on his back. He'll do it for you. He did it this game against the Chargers. There you go. He got 1 out of 6.
Tokyo, Motor City Maniac, much love. Remy Solis in the house. Let me roll back a little bit more. The Hood Patriot, of course. We got Frame Rippers. Much love to the man Voodoo Alpha as well. Be sure to check him out for all of your computer needs.
Damn right.
See, Bruce got the Toxic Juice. Beast Mode. And that's as far back as I can go here, actually. So, with that said, an extra special shout out to everyone. Take a second to hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell.
And baby, why do we do this here on MCF every single day and night? Repping that star over everything. Why do we do this here on My Cowboys Family?
Is it because of that navy blue?
Yes.
That silver too?
Hell yeah.
That star over everything?
Hell yeah, guys. Win, lose or draw, good, bad, or ugly here in MCF, we always rep this star on our heads, on our chest. We rep this star over everything. Guys, 6 years plus here on YouTube, here on My Cowboys Family. Never, ever dare forget the number one thing here, number one thing now, number one thing forever. As always, go Cowboys. Let's get that 6 and beyond. Thank you all for dropping your thoughts, your knowledge in the chat there. Your last comments in the house.
Lost in translation, Dirty South, much love.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Appreciate those that dropped the love. You guys dropped the knowledge, dropped the love. Can't do this without you guys. Now it's time for us to officially drop out and clock out for the night. Relock and reload for another show tomorrow on this bye week. So buckle up, guys. Fan Fridays tomorrow. Might have a little relaxation stream over the weekend. We'll see. Keep it here on MCF as we all relax in this bye week. And hey, we'll keep an eye out always for those possible trade situations. You never know. I think by the end of the week, it's going to be tough to happen because the Cowboys want to get these trades done on the bye. We're working out some guys. We'll see what the Cowboys' next step is tomorrow. Join us for that for tomorrow here on Fan Friday, guys. And as always, baby, before we can drop out and clock out for the night, what do we got to do here on MCF?
We got to drop the beat.
Oh, yeah, that beat's been dropped, baby. Thank you for that. And thank you guys for joining us here for another one here. Another Cowboys chat right here. This little corner of YouTube right here. My Cowboys Family. Micah's relaxing. But this team is ready for more, guys. And, hey, we'll see if we mean more by a trade. We'll see what happens. Deadline's coming around the corner. But this team is on hiatus, on a bye, a little rest. Caught up all the news and info and updates from yesterday, from today. Our Cowboys, Micah got the headset on because, he's talking with the media right now for a couple of weeks. And then we're back to business against the Rams. But before we get there, we got to close out this bye week and see if we make any moves to those question marks for any players, big or small, from this front office. We shall see. And we'll keep you in the loop right here on MCF. You know it. Right here on My Cowboys Family. Right here where it's always about. On this YouTube channel, about that navy blue. That silver too. That star over everything. Never, ever forget the number one thing right here on My Cowboys Family. Much love to everyone in the house. Thank you all for hitting that like, subscribing to the channel. Make sure you follow us over at all the social media outlets. at My Cowboys Family. Of course, hit the notification bell so you know when we're going live. We'll be back tomorrow for Fan Friday. Have a good night, everyone. Stay safe. Much love to all. Peace. And never, ever forget. Go Cowboys!